The chamber is open and full of whispers.
August 1991, King's Cross Station. 5 o'clock in the morning. Harry Potter sits on a cold bench with a bag containing everything he owns. 3 overlarge shirts, 1 mended sock, a folded piece of paper with instructions for finding Diagon Alley written in his careful, small handwriting. He has been planning this trip for 6 months, reading every letter that came through the Dursleys' post slot, every bill, every advertisement, looking for information about the world he belongs to, the world that sent him a letter on his 11th birthday and changed everything. He found it in a discarded shopping bag near the zoo, a magazine called Witch Broomstick from 1987. Most of it was incomprehensible. But on page 43, tucked between an article about racing brooms and an advertisement for dragonhide gloves, was a single paragraph about Gringotts Wizarding Bank and something called a blood inheritance declaration. He memorized it, every word. He has not told the Dursleys he is leaving. He simply walked out the door at 5 a.m. while Vernon was still snoring and Petunia was still asleep and Dudley was still dreaming about television and sweets. The train to London leaves at 5:30. Harry boards it, finds a seat in an empty car, watches the suburbs slide past the window. He arrives at Charing Cross Road at 17. The instructions he copied from overheard conversations at the zoo, when he was small enough that adults didn't notice him listening, say the entrance to Diagon Alley is between 2 specific shops. He walks slowly, looking, counting. Then he nearly collides with a girl. She has bushy brown hair pulled into a ponytail. She's wearing a cardigan that's slightly too large and clutching a notebook to her chest. Her expression is one of fierce, focused concentration. She looks at him, he looks at her. They both look down at their notebooks at the same time. The sketches are identical. The same 2 buildings, the same approximate location marked with an X, the same careful handwriting noting, "Leaky cauldron, look for the gap." "You're looking for it too," the girl says. "Yeah. I'm Hermione Granger, Harry Potter." She blinks. "The Harry Potter? I don't know. I'm just Harry. Your letter said you were accepted to Hogwarts, didn't it?" "Yes, mine too. September 1st, I've been reading everything I could find about the magical world since it arrived. There's not much in regular libraries, but I found an old encyclopedia of magic at a charity shop and it mentioned Gringotts and genealogical services, and I thought if I'm going to be part of this world, I should know where I come from, properly." Harry looks at her, this girl who had the same idea he did. Who came here alone? Who wants to know? "I read about blood inheritance tests," he says, "in an old magazine. Gringotts can tell you about your magical family, your lineage. I want to know before I go to Hogwarts." "So do I." They look at each other. A moment of understanding passes between them. "Should we go together?" Hermione asks. "Yes." They walk side by side. Find the gap between the buildings. The leaky cauldron materializes as they approach. Old, dark, smaller than Harry expected. They enter. Tom the barkeeper looks up, sees Harry, goes very still. "Bless my soul, Harry Potter. What an honor. We need to get to Diagon Alley. Could you show us how?" Tom blinks at her, then nods, leads them through the pub, out into the walled courtyard behind it. He taps the bricks. 3 up, 2 across. The wall opens. Diagon Alley. It's more than Harry imagined, more than any description could contain. Shops selling wands and cauldrons and books and robes, owls hooting in cages, witches and wizards walking past in pointed hats and emerald cloaks. Hermione grabs his arm. There! Gringotts. The white building towers over everything else. Marble columns, bronze doors, goblins in scarlet and gold uniforms standing guard. They walk toward it. Don't stop. Don't look at the other shops. This first. They climb the steps, push through the bronze doors, enter the marble hall. It's vast, cold. Goblins working at a long counter counting coins, weighing jewels, writing in ledgers with long feathered quills. A goblin looks up as they approach. His face is sharp, intelligent. His eyes miss nothing. "Yes?" Harry speaks. "We'd like to request a blood inheritance test. Both of us." The goblin's expression doesn't change. "You are aware of what such a test entails?" "Yes. It reveals magical lineage, lordships, vault access, everything connected to our blood. And you are both of age to request this independently?" "I'm 11, Harry says. "So is she." But the magazine I read said any magical person can request a heritage test at Gringotts. There was no age restriction mentioned. The goblin studies them, then sets down his quill. Wait here. He disappears through a side door, returns 3 minutes later with another goblin. This one is older, taller, wearing more elaborate robes. I am Senior Account Manager Ironscale. You wish to undergo a formal blood inheritance declaration? Yes, sir. Hermione says. Ironscale looks at them for a long moment, then nods once. Follow me. He leads them through corridors of white marble, down, deep into the bank. The air grows colder. The sounds of the main hall fade. They reach a door, heavy oak. Ironscale opens it. The room beyond is small. An obsidian table in the center, 2 white parchments laid out on its surface, 2 ceremonial silver needles beside them. The blood inheritance ritual is ancient, Ironscale says, older than the Ministry of Magic, older than Hogwarts. It reveals the truth of your magical lineage, every house, every title, every vault to which you have a blood claim. Once the ritual is complete, what is revealed cannot be hidden. Do you understand? Yes, Harry says. Ironscale gestures to the table. Then begin. 1 drop of blood on the parchment. The magic will do the rest. Harry steps forward first, picks up one of the needles, pricks his finger, squeezes 1 drop of blood onto the white parchment. The blood hits the surface, spreads. The ink doesn't stop. It spirals outward, filling the page, names appearing in elegant script, dates, marriages, births, deaths, the Potter family tree unfolding across the parchment. And at the apex, at the very top of the tree where all the lines converge, Ignotus Peverell. Ironscale goes absolutely still. The parchment continues to write itself. 3 words appear in gold ink at the bottom. Ancient and most noble house of Peverell. House of Potter. House of Black. Held in proxy. A section of the wall behind Ironscale slides open. A locked case revealed. Inside, 3 rings. Gold, silver, onyx. The Peverell ring bears a sigil Harry has never seen. A stag's head over a triangle containing a circle and a vertical line. The Potter ring is simpler, just the stag. The black ring is silver with an ornate bee in Gothic script. Ironscale stares at the parchment, at Harry, at the rings. I have not seen a Peverell heir in 190 years, he says. His voice is very quiet, very controlled. The last died in 1801. Harry doesn't know what to say. Hermione steps forward. May I? Ironscale nods, still staring at Harry's parchment. Hermione picks up the second needle, pricks her finger. 1 drop of blood falls. The parchment accepts it. The ink spreads. This time it takes longer. The lines branch and split and reconnect. The family tree is complex, tangled. Several branches end in the word squib. Others simply stop without explanation. The ink climbs higher, higher, and then it reaches the apex Antioch Peverell, via the Dagworth Granger line. The ink continues, tracing the path from Antioch through generations, through a cadet branch, through scholars and potion makers, through a squib born in 1843 who took the shortened surname Granger upon integrating into Muggle society, through dentists in London. To Hermione, at the bottom of her parchment, 1 line in gold, ancient and noble house of Dagworth Granger, Peverell line of Antioch. Ironscale makes a sound, not quite a gasp, not quite a word. He leaves the room without speaking, returns 30 seconds later with another goblin, then another. 3 goblins stand in a row, staring at 2 11-year-old children and 2 parchments that have just rewritten what they thought they knew about magical Britain's surviving lineages. The 3rd goblin, the one wearing the most elaborate robes, speaks. I am head of the Inheritance Division. My name is Bloodclaw. If you are indeed who these parchments declare you to be, then you are the highest-ranked noble wizards in Britain. Do you understand what that means? No, Harry says honestly. It means, Bloodclaw says, that you command more political authority than anyone currently sitting in the Wesengamot. It means you have access to vaults that have been sealed for centuries. It means that under ancient law that predates the Ministry's founding, you are entitled to claim your lordship rings. And if you claim those rings, you are legally emancipated, no longer minors under Ministry law, no longer subject to any guardian's authority. You become, in the eyes of magic itself, the heads of your houses. Hermione speaks. How is that possible? We're 11. Ancient law does not measure fitness to lead by age. It measures it by magical power and blood right. You have both. The ministry has never formally repealed the emancipation provision because it exists in a legal code maintained by Gringotts under the Goblin Sovereignty Accords of 1752. We have been waiting for someone to invoke it. No one has in over 200 years. Harry looks at the rings. If we take them, if we claim our houses, what happens? You become Lord Potter Peverell. She becomes Lady Dagworth Granger. You may contract independently, direct your own magical education, appoint your own guardians, exercise your Wizengamot seats. You cease to be children who are acted upon. You become agents of your own fate. Silence, then Hermione says, I want to claim mine. This girl who came here with the same idea, the same need to know. So do I, he says. Bloodclaw nods. Then the ritual will proceed. Ironscale opens the case, removes the rings with careful reverence. He hands the Peverell ring to Harry first. It's heavier than it looks. The gold is warm. The sigil is etched deep into the metal. Harry slides it onto his right hand. The ring resizes instantly, perfectly, like it was made for him, and something changes. Harry feels it, a sensation like cold water running down his spine, like waking up from a dream, like something that was always there but sleeping has just opened its eyes. Magic, his magic, but different, deeper, older. The Potter ring is given next. Harry puts it on his left hand. The same sensation, the same awakening, the black ring remains in the case. That one requires additional steps, Ironscale explains. You are heir by proxy, not by blood. You must take formal guardianship of Sirius Black before that ring becomes active. The paperwork can be filed, but it will take time. I understand. Hands her a silver ring, the Antioch Dagworth sigil, a wand crossed over an open book. She slides it onto her right hand. The ring is cold, colder than the surrounding air. It resizes, fits perfectly. Hermione gasps, not in pain, in recognition. I can feel it, she says, the magic. It's like it was always there and I just couldn't hear it properly until now. That is the blood resonance, Bloodclaw says. Your ancestral magic recognizing you as its inheritor, it will amplify your casting, make certain techniques available to you that others must work years to achieve. Wandless magic, runic casting, the old arts that predate modern wand work. He gestures to the table. 2 documents appear, long, dense with text. These are emancipation papers. They require your signature in blood. Once signed, the papers will be notarized with a seal that has not been used since 1802. The ministry will be notified within the hour. Harry reads the document. It's written in formal language, legal terminology he has to parse carefully. But the meaning is clear. By claiming the lordship ring of an ancient house, he is declaring himself the head of that house. By blood and magic and law, he is accepting responsibility for everything that entails. He signs. 1 drop of blood next to his name. Hermione signs hers. Bloodclaw produces a seal from his robes, heavy, iron. He presses it to both documents. The metal glows red-hot for an instant, then cools. The seal's impression remains, a symbol Harry doesn't recognize, but Bloodclaw looks at it with something like satisfaction. It is done, you are emancipated. Lord Potter Peverell, Lady Dagworth Granger. The ministry will receive notification by 9 o'clock this morning. I expect the headmaster of Hogwarts will have questions. Let him ask them, Hermione says. Bloodclaw almost smiles. They leave Gringotts 1 hour later. It's 8:30 in the morning. Diagon Alley is waking up. Shopkeepers opening their doors, witches and wizards beginning their day. Harry and Hermione step out into the August sunlight. 2 11-year-olds wearing rings that are older than the Ministry of Magic. Hermione opens her notebook to a fresh page, uncaps her pen. Right, she says. We have approximately 3 weeks before term starts. We need to purchase our school supplies. But more importantly, we need to understand what we've just claimed. The vault access, the family grimoires, the political implications, everything. We need a plan, Harry says. We need several plans. Where do we start? Hermione taps her pen against the notebook. Thinking. We start with knowledge. We go back to Gringotts. We request access to our family vaults. We find out what's actually in them. Books, records, whatever our ancestors left us. We read everything. We learn everything. Then we decide what to do with it. Harry nods. And after that, We buy our wands. We purchase our school supplies. We find somewhere to stay for the next 3 weeks that isn't your relative's house or my parents' house. Somewhere we can work without interruption. Gringotts might rent us a property. If we're emancipated, we can lease under our own names. That's a good idea. They stand there, the morning sun warming the street, the realization settling over them of what they've just done. They didn't stumble into power. They claimed it, deliberately, with full knowledge of what it meant. Harry looks at the ring on his finger, the Peverell sigil. He doesn't know yet what Ignatius Peverell did or who he was. But he will. Hermione is already writing, a list forming in her notebook. Numbered, organized, comprehensive return to Gringotts, request vault access, catalog contents, identify useful materials, arrange temporary residence, begin study. She looks up. Ready? As two people with authority who are about to exercise it. The future has not been written yet, but they are holding the pen. Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, Headmaster's Office, 9:47 a.m. Albus Dumbledore is eating breakfast alone. A simple meal, toast with marmalade, tea, an apple. He is feeding pieces of toast to Fawkes when the scroll materializes. It appears in mid-air, drops onto his desk. The wax seal is dark red, the ministry seal, marked urgent. Dumbledore sets down his toast, opens the scroll. He reads it once, reads it again, reaches for a lemon drop from the dish on his desk, holds it in his hand without eating it. The scroll is from the Department of Magical Law Enforcement. Formal notification: Harry James Potter, born the 31st of July, 1980, has undergone a formal Gringotts inheritance claiming. He is now legally Lord Potter Peverell, head of 2 ancient houses, emancipated minor, no longer in need of nor subject to any designated guardian arrangement. Dumbledore sits very still. Then, a second scroll materializes. This one concerns Hermione Jean Granger, born the 19th of September, 1979. Blood inheritance test conducted same date as Mr. Potter. Results. Ancient lineage confirmed via the Dagworth Granger line, descending from Antioch Peverell, emancipated as Lady Dagworth Granger. Dumbledore looks at the ceiling for 6 full seconds. Then he says, very quietly, "Oh." He stands, walks to the window, looks out over the grounds of Hogwarts. 2 children, 11 years old, have just legally removed themselves from his carefully constructed plan. Harry was supposed to be with the Dursleys, protected by blood wards, isolated, controllable. Hermione was supposed to be an unknown factor. A Muggle-born girl with no political connections and no influence. Neither of those things is true anymore. Dumbledore closes his eyes. "What have you done, Harry?" The portraits on the walls watch him, silent, waiting. London, Department of Magical Law Enforcement. Same morning, a file lands on the desk of an enforcement officer named Marcus Whitby. He opens it, reads the complaint, goes very still. Then he calls his supervisor. 10 minutes later, 3 ministry officials are reviewing the same document. The complaint is filed by Lord Harry James Potter Peverell, acting through Gringotts legal representation. It details 11 years of documented neglect by his Muggle relatives, confinement to a cupboard under the stairs, denial of adequate food and clothing, deliberate withholding of information regarding his magical heritage, physical punishment for accidental magic. The file includes witness statements from neighbors, photographs of the cupboard, medical records noting malnutrition and old injuries. It is comprehensive, damning, impossible to ignore. The supervising officer, a woman named Amelia Bones, sets down the file. "This is legally actionable," she says. "We are required to investigate. If the claims are substantiated, the guardians will face charges." The complaint also requests, Marcus Whitby adds, that Lord Potter be formally removed from the guardianship arrangement and that all ministry protections associated with that placement be dissolved. On what grounds? On the grounds that he is emancipated. He no longer requires a guardian. Bones looks at the emancipation certificate attached to the file. Gringotts seal, blood clause signature. Everything legal. Everything correct. "This is going to cause problems," she says. "Yes, ma'am. File the investigation paperwork. Send notification to the Muggle Guardians, and someone contact Dumbledore. He's going to need to explain why he placed the boy who lived in an abusive household for 11 years. Number 4. Privet Drive. 10:15 a.m. Vernon Dursley is drinking his morning coffee when the owl arrives. It crashes through the kitchen window, glass shattering, wings flapping, a scroll tied to its leg. Vernon roars, tries to grab the owl. The owl bites him, drops the scroll on the table, flies back out through the broken window. Petunia screams. Vernon grabs the scroll, rips it open. Ministry of Magic, Department of Magical Law Enforcement Child, Welfare Division. To Vernon and Petunia Dursley, Re. Investigation into the treatment of Harry James Potter. You are hereby notified that a formal complaint has been filed regarding your treatment of your nephew, Harry James Potter, during the period of 1981-1991. The complaint alleges severe neglect, physical confinement, and deliberate denial of essential care. An investigator will arrive at your residence within 7 days to conduct interviews and examine the living conditions. You are required by magical law to cooperate fully. Additionally, you are informed that Harry James Potter has been legally emancipated and is no longer under your guardianship. He will not be returning to your residence. All ministry protections previously associated with his placement at number 4 Privet Drive have been dissolved. Vernon's face turns purple. A second letter arrives. Muggle Post this time. A law firm in London that Vernon has never heard of. The letter is polite, professional. It informs the Dursleys that their nephew will not be returning, that his belongings, minimal as they are, have been collected by his legal representatives, that any attempt to contact him or interfere with his affairs will result in further legal action. The letter is signed by 3 names Vernon cannot pronounce. Goblins, acting as solicitors. Vernon throws both letters in the bin, storms upstairs, slams the door. Petunia stands in the kitchen, staring at the broken window, at the glass on the floor. He's gone, she says quietly. Dudley, watching from the doorway, says, Who's gone? The boy. He's not coming back. Good. I didn't like him anyway. Oxford, the Granger residence. Same day. Evening, Hermione's parents sit at the kitchen table reading a letter. 6 pages long, handwritten. Their daughters, careful script. Dear Mum and Dad, I need to tell you something. I've discovered that I'm not actually Muggle-born. I know that's going to sound strange, but please keep reading. The Gringotts blood test, the Peverell lineage, the Dagworth-Granger connection, the emancipation. It includes 3 appendices, one detailing the history of the Dagworth-Granger family, one explaining the legal status of emancipated magical minors, one outlining Hermione's plans for the next 3 weeks. Mr. Granger sets down the letter, looks at his wife. Our daughter is magical nobility. Apparently, how do you feel about this? Mrs. Granger is quiet for a moment. Then she says, I feel proud. She went to that bank alone. She asked the right questions. She took control of her own future. That's our daughter. That's who we raised. She wants to stay with a boy she met this morning, someone named Harry Potter, for 3 weeks, while they study their family histories. She also says he's emancipated, that he's been living with abusive relatives and needs somewhere safe. And she's asking our permission even though she's technically no longer required to. Granger reads the letter again. She wants both of them to stay here, in our home, while they prepare for Hogwarts. Yes, pride and sadness and love all mixed together. We say yes. We say we trust her judgment. We say we're honored to help. And then we call her and tell her that no matter what legal status she has in the magical world, she's still our daughter, and we love her. Mr. Granger nods. I'll get the phone. The call lasts 20 minutes. Hermione explains everything in more detail, answers every question. Her parents listen. Ask clarifying questions. Don't panic. At the end of the call, Mr. Granger says, Bring him home, sweetheart. We'll make up the guest room. You can both stay as long as you need. Thank you, Dad. Thank you so much. What? Promise me you'll still come home for Christmas, even if you're Lady Dagworth Granger and you have a castle somewhere. Hermione laughs. I promise. I don't have a castle, just a vault full of old books. That sounds exactly like something you'd inherit. They hang up. Hermione stands in the Leaky Cauldron's public flow room, holding the phone receiver, smiling. Harry is waiting outside. Did they say yes? They said yes. Really? Really, they want to meet you. They said we can both stay as long as we need. Harry doesn't know what to say. He's never had adults offer to help him before, not without wanting something in return. Are you sure? He asks. I'm sure. Come on, let's go get our things from Gringotts and go home. Home, Harry turns the word over in his mind. The Granger's house isn't his home, but it's somewhere he's welcome. That's more than he's had in 11 years. Okay, he says. Let's go. Hogwarts, Dumbledore's office. 3 days later, Albus Dumbledore receives a request for a meeting from Lord Potter Peveril and Lady Dagworth Granger, through their Gringotts legal representatives. The meeting is to be held at Gringotts London law offices, neutral ground, with 3 goblin legal specialists present. Dumbledore considers refusing, then realizes that would only make things worse. He agrees, sets the appointment for August 20th, 2 weeks before term begins. August 20th, Gringotts law offices, central London. The conference room is efficient, clean, a long table, chairs on both sides, no decoration, no warmth. Dumbledore arrives precisely on time. He's wearing simple robes, no hat, no flourishes. This is not a social call. He enters the room and stops. Harry and Hermione sit on the far side of the table, both wearing their rings, both calm, both prepared. To Harry's left, iron scale. To Hermione's right, Bloodclaw. Between them, a third goblin Dumbledore doesn't recognize. Younger, sharper, headmaster. Harry says, "Thank you for coming." Dumbledore takes his seat. Harry, "Miss Granger, I confess I am somewhat surprised by the formality of this meeting. We thought it best to have everything documented," Hermione says. "Given the circumstances," and what circumstances are those? Harry speaks. His voice is level, polite, devastating in its calm. "The circumstance that you placed me with relatives who abused me for 11 years. The circumstance that you never checked on me, never verified that I was safe, never questioned whether the Dursleys were suitable guardians." Dumbledore's expression doesn't change, but something in his eyes shifts. "Harry, I understand you are angry, but you must understand the blood wards. Your mother's sacrifice, it created protection. As long as you called that place home, you were safe from Voldemort and his followers." "I was safe from Voldemort," Harry says. "I was not safe from Vernon Dursley's fists. I was not safe from being locked in a cupboard. I was not safe from starvation. The blood wards protected me from dark wizards. They did nothing to protect me from the people you left me with." "I believed," you believed, Hermione interrupts, "that keeping Harry alive was more important than keeping him well. You made a calculation, his safety from external threats versus his safety from internal ones. You chose external. That was your decision, but it was the wrong decision. And now Harry is asking you to explain it. For the record, this 11-year-old girl who speaks like a solicitor and sits like someone who has every right to be in this room. Who are you?" he asks. "I'm Hermione Granger, Lady Dagworth Granger, heir of Antioch Peveril. And I'm Harry's friend. We met 3 weeks ago, we went to Gringotts together, and we're going to Hogwarts together, as emancipated students who are under no obligation to follow any plan you may have made for us." Silence. Dumbledore sits back in his chair. "I see. Do you?" Harry asks. "Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you made a lot of assumptions. You assumed I would be grateful to be rescued from the Dursleys. You assumed I would trust you without question. You assumed you could guide my education and my choices because I wouldn't know any better. But I do know better. Hermione and I both do. We've read our family histories. We've studied our legal rights. We know exactly what we're entitled to and what we're not required to tolerate. Harry, I never intended. I don't care what you intended. I care what you did. You left me in a house where I was hurt. You didn't check on me. You didn't ask if I was safe. You just assumed the blood wards were enough. They weren't." Dumbledore is quiet for a long moment. Then he says, "You are right, I made a choice. I believed that your survival was the most important thing, that any suffering you endured would be temporary compared to the threat Voldemort represented. I was wrong to assume that the ends justified the means. I apologize." He doesn't know what to do with it. Hermione does. Your apology is noted, but it doesn't change what happens next. Harry is emancipated. He's no longer under your guardianship or anyone else's. He'll attend Hogwarts as a student. He'll follow the rules. He'll take his classes. But he's not going to be your weapon. He's not going to be shaped into whatever you think he needs to be to fight Voldemort. He's going to be himself, and I'm going to help him. And what about you, Miss Granger? What do you want from this meeting? I want you to understand that we're not children who need protecting. We're not pieces on a game board. We're people. With rights. With power. And we're going to use both. If you try to manipulate us or control us, we'll know. And we'll respond. Not with anger, with legal action, with political pressure, with every tool our family's legacies give us. Do you understand? Dumbledore looks at her, then at Harry. then at the three goblins sitting silently at the table. "I understand." "Good," Hermione says. "Then we're done here." Dumbledore stands. "Before I leave, may I ask one question? You may ask, what do you intend to do with the power you've claimed?" Harry and Hermione look at each other. Some silent communication passes between them. Then Harry says, "We're going to use it to be ready. For whatever comes, we're not going to hide. We're not going to wait. We're going to learn everything our ancestors knew. And when Voldemort comes back, because he will come back, we're going to be prepared. And I hope, when the time comes, that you will allow me to help. If you help honestly," Hermione says, "we'll accept it. If you manipulate or deceive, we won't. It's that simple. That is very fair. Good day, Lord Potter. Lady Granger." He leaves. The door closes behind him. Ironscale speaks. "That was well done." "Thank you," Harry says. "He will test you. Dumbledore is many things, but predictable is not one of them. He will attempt to guide you in subtle ways. You must remain vigilant. We will." Bloodclaw produces a folder. "We have one additional matter to discuss. Professor Bathsheba Babbling has agreed to act as your tutor for the remainder of August. She will teach you the foundations of ancient runes, using materials from your family vaults. She comes highly recommended and has no political affiliations that would compromise her neutrality." "When does she start?" Hermione asks. "Tomorrow. She will come to the Granger residence for 2 hours each morning. The fee has been paid from your vault." "Thank you." The meeting ends. Harry and Hermione leave Gringotts' offices. Step out into the London afternoon. They walk for a while without speaking. Then Harry says, "We just confronted Albus Dumbledore. We did. And we won. We held our ground. That's not quite the same as winning. But it's a start." Harry looks at his ring. "The Peverell sigil, do you think he believed us? About being ready? I think he believes we believe it. Whether he trusts us to actually do it is another question. We will, though, be ready. I know." They walk back toward Charing Cross, toward the leaky cauldron, toward the flu network that will take them back to Oxford. Two 11-year-olds who have just rewritten the rules of their own lives. The adults are going to have to catch up. The Granger residence, Oxford, August 21st. The dining room is not large, but by the second week of August it contains 4 grimoires from the Peverell vault. Professor Babbling's annotated rune charts covering the entire table, 12 empty tea mugs. Hermione's expanding notebook system, now up to 7 volumes, and 2 11-year-olds sleeping approximately 5 hours a night, because there is simply too much to learn. Mrs. Granger stands in the doorway at 7 in the morning, watches Harry and Hermione already awake, already working. Hermione is copying runes from one of the tablets into her notebook. Harry is reading a translated section of the Ars Mortis with fierce concentration. "Did either of you sleep?" she asks. Harry looks up. "Yes, from 2 to 6:30. That's 4.5 hours. That's enough." She's learned in the past 2 weeks that arguing with either of them about their study schedule is pointless. She brings tea instead, sets the tray on the only clear corner of the table. "Professor Babbling will be here in an hour," she says. "Please eat something before she arrives." "We will," Hermione promises. Mrs. Granger leaves, returns to the kitchen where her husband is making breakfast. "They're already up," she says. "Of course they are." "Daniel, I'm worried about them." "Why?" "They're 11. They should be playing, relaxing, enjoying their summer. Instead, they're reading books about death magic and learning an alphabet that hasn't been used in 1,000 years. Mr. Granger pours 2 cups of coffee, hands one to his wife. They're also happy. "Have you noticed? Hermione is happier than I've ever seen her. She's found something she's good at, someone who understands her. I'd rather have her exhausted and fulfilled than rested and lonely." Mrs. Granger sips her coffee. "You're right. I just wish they'd sleep more. They'll sleep when they're ready. Until then, we keep them fed and make sure they don't burn the house down with accidental magic." "Has that happened?" "Not yet, but I'm keeping a fire extinguisher handy, just in case." Professor Bathsheba Babbling arrives at 8 o'clock precisely. She's younger than Harry expected, maybe 30. Sharp-eyed, she carries a leather bag full of reference materials and her own annotated runic charts. Lord Potter. Lady Granger. "Good morning." "Good morning, Professor. Just Bathsheba, please. I'm not officially your professor until September. For now, I'm a consultant. Shall we begin?" They sit at the dining table. Bathsheba examines the materials they've been working with, the Peverell vault tablets, the grimoires, Hermione's notes. "You've made significant progress," she says. "Your rune transcriptions are accurate. Your pronunciation guides are correct. You've identified the Elder Futhark base system and several of the Peveril modifications. This is impressive work for self-study. Thank you, Hermione says. But we have questions. A lot of questions. Good. Questions mean you're thinking. Let's start with the basics. What do you understand about runecraft as a discipline? Harry answers. Runes are permanent magical inscriptions. Unlike spells, which require ongoing magical input from a caster, runic arrays are self-contained. Once activated, they continue to function as long as the physical runes remain intact. Correct. And why is this significant? Because it means you can create magical effects that outlast you, wards that protect a building for centuries, enchantments that repair themselves, arrays that detect specific magical signatures without requiring a person to actively search. Exactly. Now the Peveril runic system is an expanded version of the Elder Futhark. Standard Elder Futhark has 24 runes. How many does the Peveril system have? Hermione checks her notes. 41. The additional 17 are proprietary. They cover concepts that the standard system doesn't address. Soul state detection, blood magic anchoring, spatial compression, death threshold awareness. Bathsheba nods. The Peverils were innovators. They took an existing system and refined it for their specific areas of study, which were the mechanics of mortality, yes, which makes these materials extremely valuable and extremely dangerous. Have you attempted to inscribe any of these runes yourselves? Only the simple ones, Hermione says. Light, heat, basic protective wards. We'd been following the safety protocols outlined in the grimoires. No blood magic, no soul-adjacent runes, nothing that requires more magical output than we can safely channel. Good. That's exactly right. Runecraft is precise. One incorrect line, one misplaced activation rune. The array can collapse. Or worse, it can activate improperly and produce effects you didn't intend. She pulls out a piece of parchment, draws 3 runes in quick succession. This is a basic light ward. 3 runes. Elder Futhark standard. If I inscribe this correctly and activate it, the area around the inscription will remain illuminated for as long as the runes are intact. If I make this error, she modifies one of the runes slightly. The array attempts to pull light from the surrounding area instead of generating it. The room goes dark, permanently, until someone physically destroys the runes. Harry leans forward. So precision is everything. Precision is survival. In runecraft, there is no such thing as a small mistake. Every line matters. Bathsheba teaches them the correct way to inscribe each rune, the angle of the lines, the depth of the carving, the sequence of activation. By the end of the session, Harry can inscribe a functional heat ward on a piece of wood. The ward generates warmth without burning, steady, sustainable. Hermione has created a light ward on parchment that glows with a soft, consistent brightness. She holds it up, studies it, smiles. I made this, she says. You did, Bathsheba confirms. That's real magic, ancient magic. Well done. After Bathsheba leaves, Harry and Hermione sit at the table, both tired, both satisfied. This is incredible, Hermione says. In 2 weeks we've learned more practical magic than most first years learn in a full term. Because we have resources they don't, Harry says, and we're using them. Do you think it's unfair that we have access to all of this when other students don't? I think we were given an advantage by accident at birth. We didn't earn it, but we can earn what we do with it. If we use this knowledge to help people, to make things better, then the advantage becomes something worth having. Hermione nods. I like that. They return to their work, Hermione transcribing more runes, Harry reading the Ars Mortis. That evening, the Granger living room. Mr. and Mrs. Granger sit with Harry and Hermione after dinner. A quiet moment. The studying paused. How are you both feeling? Mrs. Granger asks. Honestly, tired, Hermione says. Excited, a little overwhelmed, but good. Harry? Harry doesn't answer immediately. He's been at the Granger's house for 2 weeks. It's the longest he's ever stayed anywhere that felt safe. I'm grateful, he says finally. You've let me stay here. You've fed me. You haven't asked for anything in return. I don't know how to thank you for that. Mr. Granger sets down his tea. Harry, you're our daughter's friend. You needed help, that's all the reason we need. You don't owe us anything. You've been through things no child should experience. You've claimed responsibilities that would crush most adults, and you're handling it with grace and intelligence and courage. That's extraordinary. But you're still a child, and while you're here, you're part of this family. That means you eat when you're hungry, You sleep when you're tired. You ask for help when you need it, and you don't worry about debts or obligations. Understood? Harry's throat is tight. Understood. Mrs. Granger smiles. Good. Now, tell me about this wandless magic Professor Babbling mentioned. Hermione brightens. Oh, that's fascinating. Wandless magic predates wand work by thousands of years. Wands are a European refinement from about 2,000 years ago. Before that, all magic was wandless. It requires three things: intent clarity, will density, and blood resonance. She explains the concepts. Her parents listen, ask questions, engage. This, Harry thinks, is what family is supposed to feel like. People who care about you, who want to understand what you're doing, who support you without needing to control you. He's never had this before. He wants to keep it. August 30th, 1 week before Hogwarts. Harry and Hermione have been working for 3 weeks. The results are visible. Harry can perform basic wandless lumos. The light is weaker than it would be with a wand, but it's present, sustainable. He can also levitate small objects without speaking, the Wingardium Leviosa incantation internalized, the magic responding to pure intent. Hermione has memorized the complete Peverell runic alphabet, all 41 runes. She can inscribe a functional protective ward on paper that genuinely repels minor hexes. She's tested it, had Harry fire a low-powered stinging hex at the paper. The ward held. Professor Babbling reviewed their progress yesterday. She was quiet for a long moment after examining their work. Then she said, "You're operating at third-year proficiency. In some areas, fourth year. I've never seen students advance this quickly." "Is that a problem?" Hermione asked. "No. It's remarkable, but it also means you're going to be very bored in your first-year classes. The curriculum is designed for students who have never performed magic before. You're well beyond that. You attend the classes, you do the assignments, you don't show off, and you continue your independent study in your free time. The Hogwarts Library has a restricted section. You'll have access to it. Your emancipation status grants you that right. Use it. Learn everything you can. Selectively, the grimoires are divided into 7 books. They've read the first 3. Those cover soul theory, the nature of death, and basic death-adjacent magic like spirit communication and peaceful passage rites. Books 4 through 7 are more dangerous. Horcrux creation, necromancy, soul binding, forced resurrection. They made a formal agreement, written, witnessed by the goblins, filed with Gringotts. They will not access books 4 through 7 until they are 15 years old. 4 more years of magical education. 4 more years of maturity. 4 more years to understand the responsibility those techniques require. Hermione drafted the agreement. Harry signed it without hesitation. "We could read them now," Hermione said. "We have access. We could learn it all." "We could," Harry agreed, "but we shouldn't. Just because we can do something doesn't mean we should. That's the whole point of having power, knowing when not to use it. I read it in one of the grimoires. Ignatius Peverell wrote it. Power exercised is a choice. Power restrained is wisdom." I like that. The agreement was filed. Books 4 through 7 remain sealed by their own mutual decision. September 1st, 1 day before Hogwarts, Harry and Hermione sit in the Granger garden, their trunks packed, their school supplies purchased, their wands, bought 2 weeks ago from Ollivander, who stared at both of them for a very long time before finding the right matches, wrapped carefully and ready. Harry's wand is 11 inches, holly and phoenix feather, the same core as another wand, Ollivander said cryptically. He didn't explain which one. Hermione's wand is 10 3/4 inches, vine wood and dragon heartstring. A wand for the ambitious and the meticulous, Ollivander said. Use it well. They've spent the afternoon testing their wands, getting used to the feel, the way the magic channels differently through wood than through pure intent. "Are you nervous?" Hermione asks. "About Hogwarts? No. About what comes after? Yes. What comes after? Voldemort. The war that's going to happen eventually, using everything we've learned to actually make a difference. We will make a difference." "How do you know?" "Because we're not waiting for someone to save us. We're saving ourselves." That's how change starts, with people who refuse to be victims. Harry looks at her, this girl who walked into Diagon Alley alone, who claimed her heritage without flinching, who is sitting in her parents' garden talking about war and responsibility like it's a chess game she's planning to win. "I'm glad I met you," he says. "I'm glad I met you too." They sit in the garden until sunset. Tomorrow they go to Hogwarts. Tomorrow their real education begins. But tonight they're just two children in the last hour of summer, watching the sky turn gold and knowing that everything is about to change. And they're ready. September 1st, 1991, the Hogwarts Express. Platform 9 3/4 is chaos. Families saying goodbye. Trunks being loaded. Owls hooting in cages. The scarlet engine gleaming in the morning light. Harry and Hermione stand on the platform with the Grangers. Mr. Granger has insisted on driving them to King's Cross. Mrs. Granger has packed them each a lunch that could feed 3 people. "You'll write?" Mrs. Granger asks. "Every week," Hermione promises. "I'll tell you everything." "And you'll eat properly, sleep enough, not work yourselves into exhaustion?" "We'll do our best, I promise." Mrs. Granger hugs her daughter. Then, to Harry's surprise, hugs him too. "Take care of each other," she says. "We will," Harry says. They board the train. Find a compartment near the middle. Settle in. The train pulls away from the platform at exactly 11 o'clock. London disappears behind them. The countryside unfolds. 30 minutes into the journey, the compartment door slides open. A boy with red hair and freckles stands there, tall, gangly, uncertain smile. "Mind if I sit? Everywhere else is full." Sets his trunk in the overhead rack. "I'm Ron." "Ron Weasley?" "Harry Potter?" "Hermione Granger." Ron's eyes widen. "Potter? Really? You're Harry Potter?" "Yes." "Blimey. The Harry Potter? The boy who lived." Harry doesn't know how to respond to that. He's heard the name before. Hagrid mentioned it. The people in the Leaky Cauldron whispered it. But he doesn't feel like the boy who lived. He just feels like Harry. "I'm just Harry," he says. Ron nods slowly. "Right, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to make it weird." "It's fine." "Are those real lordship rings?" "Yes," Hermione says. "So you're lords? At 11? Emancipated heads of ancient houses?" "Yes." Ron sits back, processing. "That's mental. I mean, that's brilliant. But mental. My whole family's been talking about it. The return of the Peverell line. Dad said it hasn't happened in 200 years. "Your father is correct," Hermione says. "So you're like magical nobility, technically. Do I have to bow or something?" Harry laughs. "No, definitely not. We're just students, same as you. Students who wear ancient lordship rings and probably have more money than my entire family combined." "That's not important," Harry says. "What's important is that we're going to Hogwarts. We're going to learn magic, and we're going to be friends, if you want to be." Ron grins. "Yeah, I'd like that." They talk for the rest of the journey. Ron tells them about his family. 6 brothers, 1 sister, his parents, the Burrow. Life in a magical household. Harry and Hermione listen, ask questions, learn. Ron is easy to talk to, funny, kind, a little insecure about his family's lack of money but not bitter about it, just resigned. When the lunch trolley comes, Harry buys enough sweets for all 3 of them. Ron tries to refuse. "I've got money, I can buy my own." "I know, but I want to share, please." Ron hesitates, then accepts. "Thanks." They eat chocolate frogs and Bertie Bott's every flavor beans and pumpkin pasties. Trade cards. Talk about Quidditch in classes and what house they think they'll be in. "I'm hoping for Gryffindor," Ron says. "Whole family's been in Gryffindor. Mum will have kittens if I'm not." "What if you're in a different house?" Hermione asks. "Then I'll prove I belong there. But I'd rather be in Gryffindor." "My parents were in Gryffindor," Harry says. "I think I'd like to be there too." "What about you?" Ron asks Hermione. "I don't know. I've read about all the houses. They each have merit. I suppose I'll go wherever the hat puts me. The Sorting Hat decides based on what you value, not what you're good at. That's what my brothers said. Then I suppose I value knowledge and courage and doing what's right even when it's difficult." "That's very Gryffindor," Ron says. The train slows. Hogsmeade Station, they change into their robes. Black, plain, the Hogwarts uniform. Harry and Hermione both keep their rings visible. Ron notices but doesn't comment. They disembark with the other first years. A voice booms across the platform. "Furs years. Furs years over here." A giant of a man. Hagrid. Harry recognizes him from descriptions in the books he's read. Half-giant, keeper of keys and grounds at Hogwarts. They follow Hagrid to the boats. 4 students per boat. Harry, Hermione, Ron, and a nervous-looking boy named Neville Longbottom climb into one. The boats cross the lake. the castle appears. Massive, ancient, towering over the water. Ron stares, wicked. Neville looks terrified. Hermione is already analyzing the architecture. The wards are extraordinary, multiple layers, centuries old, some of them predate the castle itself. You can feel the wards? Ron asks. Can't you? No. Is that normal? For us, Harry says, we've been studying ancient magic. Wards, runes. It makes you more sensitive to magical fields. Enter through massive oak doors. Professor McGonagall meets them in the entrance hall. She's exactly as described in the books. Stern, precise, wearing emerald robes and a pointed hat. Her expression is yen-suited but not unkind. She sees Harry and Hermione. Her expression shifts, just slightly. Recognition, surprise, something else. Welcome to Hogwarts, she says. In a few moments you will pass through these doors and join your classmates, but before you take your seats, you will be sorted into your houses. Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, Slytherin. Your house will be like your family. Your triumphs will earn you points. Your rule-breaking will lose them. At the end of the year, the house with the most points wins the House Cup. Looks directly at Harry and Hermione. I have been instructed to make an announcement before the sorting begins. It concerns 2 of our new students. The first years go quiet, listening. McGonagall pulls a scroll from her robes, opens it. Her face is magnificently expressionless. The Wizengamot has certified the following emancipated lordships, effective as of August 17, 1991. Lord Harry James Potter, head of the ancient and most noble House of Peverell, and of the House of Potter. Lady Hermione Jean Granger, head of the ancient and noble House of Dagworth Granger, in the Peverell line of Antioch. Silence. Complete. Total. Silence. Ron mouths Antioch Peverell with a look of absolute shock. Neville stares. A blond boy at the front, Draco Malfoy, Harry recognizes from descriptions, goes very pale. McGonagall continues, these titles carry full legal weight under wizarding law. Lord Potter and Lady Granger are emancipated students. They will attend classes and follow school rules like any other student. But they are not subject to guardian authority and hold seats in the Wizengamot. This announcement is made as a matter of record and tradition. That is all. The doors to the Great Hall open. The Great Hall is even more impressive than the books described. 4 long tables, floating candles, the ceiling enchanted to look like the night sky, stars, clouds drifting. The first years file in, walk between the Gryffindor and Hufflepuff tables, approach the front. The older students are staring, whispering. Harry hears fragments. Peverell line thought it was extinct, 11 years old. Ancient houses. They reach the front. The Sorting Hat sits on a stool, old, patched, somehow both dignified and ridiculous. The Hat sings, a new song, about the 4 houses, unity, choice. Then Professor McGonagall calls the first name, Abbott, Hannah. 5 seconds. Hufflepuff. Anna joins the Hufflepuff table. More names. More sortings. Boot, Terry. Ravenclaw. Brocklehurst, Mandy. Ravenclaw. Brown Lavender. Gryffindor. Then Granger, Hermione. Hermione walks forward. Calm. Composed. Sits on the stool. McGonagall places the hat on her head. Inside her mind, the hat speaks. Hate. Oh my. Antioch's heir. I haven't sorted a Peverell in, well, ever. Ignotus was long dead before I was created. Cadmus's line produced Slytherins, of course. But you're different. Hermione, thinking, how am I different? Hat. You want to be best, without apology, without reservation. That's Antioch's fire, the hunger for mastery. But you also want to use that mastery for something beyond yourself. That's not typical of Antioch's descendants. Hermione, I don't want power for its own sake. I want knowledge, understanding, the ability to make things better. Hat, and if that requires you to be the smartest person in the room, the most capable, the one everyone turns to, Hermione, then I'll be that person. Gladly. Hat, no false modesty, no pretense of humility. You know what you are and you're not ashamed of it. That's refreshing. Ravenclaw would treasure you. Slytherin would sharpen you. But I think you'll do best in Gryffindor. 4 seconds total. The Gryffindor table erupts. Applause. Cheering. Hermione walks to the table, sits, looks back at Harry. He grins. More names. Longbottom, Neville. The hat takes almost a minute. Finally, Gryffindor. Neville looks relieved. Malfoy, Draco. The blond boy swaggers to the stool. The hat barely touches his head. Slytherin, Draco smirks. Joins the Slytherin table. Glances at Harry with an expression that's part curiosity, part calculation. More names. Then Potter, Harry. Every eye on him. Every whisper about the boy who lived and the Peverell air and the rings he wears. He sits. The hat descends. Hat, Harry Potter, the boy who lived. But also the boy who chose. That's what they don't understand, isn't it? You didn't stumble into power. You claimed it. Harry. I did what made sense. Hat. Ignatus's blood runs true. You have his patience. His cunning. Oh yes, more cunning than anyone suspects. You could do very well in Slytherin. Build alliances. Consolidate power. Become the most influential wizard of your generation. Harry. I don't want to be influential. I want to be prepared. Hat. For what? Harry. For whatever's coming. Voldemort isn't gone. Not really. He'll come back, and when he does, I need to be ready. Hat. So you're already planning for war. At 11, that's either very brave or very foolish. Harry. Probably both. Hat. Laughing. Yes. I think you're right. You want to be worthy, not merely powerful. You want to earn what you have. That's not Slytherin thinking. That's Gryffindor. 11 seconds the Gryffindor table explodes. Louder than for anyone else. Stamping, cheering, whistling. Harry walks to the table, sits beside Hermione. Ron is sorted immediately after. 4 seconds. Gryffindor! He sits across from Harry and Hermione. Grins. Same house, Harry confirms. The sorting finishes. The last student is sorted into Ravenclaw. Dumbledore stands. The hall quiets. He's exactly as Harry imagined. Tall, thin, long silver beard, half-moon spectacles, robes of deep purple. Welcome, he says. Welcome to another year at Hogwarts. Before we begin our feast, I have a few announcements. The Forbidden Forest is, as always, forbidden to all students. Mr. Filch has asked me to remind you that magic is not permitted in the corridors between classes, and this year, the third-floor corridor on the right-hand side is out of bounds to everyone who does not wish to die a most painful death. Several students laugh, thinking it's a joke. Harry and Hermione don't laugh. They exchange glances. Something on the third floor. Something dangerous. Something Dumbledore is protecting. They'll investigate later. Dumbledore claps his hands. Let the feast begin. Food appears. Roast chicken, potatoes, vegetables, pies. More food than Harry has ever seen in one place. He eats. So does Hermione, so does Ron, who loads his plate with enthusiasm. At the staff table, Harry observes the teachers. McGonagall, Flitwick, Sprout, Snape, who is staring at Harry with an expression of intense, complicated emotion. And at the far end, a man in a purple turban. Professor Quirrell. Defense against the dark arts. Harry's scar prickles, faintly, barely noticeable, but present. Harry touches his forehead. The sensation fades. He looks at Quirrell, studies him. The man is nervous, twitchy. His hands shake when he reaches for his goblet. But there's something else, something underneath the nervousness. Something wrong. Harry doesn't feel the cold knock, the sensation that indicates a Horcrux. This is different. It's like the air around Quirrell is colder than it should be, like there's a presence near him that isn't quite visible. Harry makes a note. Mental. Careful. Quirrell is a problem. He doesn't know what kind yet, but he will. After the feast, the Gryffindor common room. The first years are shown to their dormitories. Boys and girls separated, 4 beds per room. Harry's roommates are Ron, Neville, Seamus Finnegan, and Dean Thomas. They unpack, set up their trunks, arrange their belongings. Ron stares at Harry's trunk. It's larger than the others, better made, clearly expensive. Is that from Gringotts? He asks. Yes, they have a craftsman who makes custom trunks. This one has extension charms, organized compartments, preservation enchantments for books. The goblins charged it to my vault. I didn't ask the price. Ron is quiet for a moment, then says, "Must be nice, having money. I inherited it, just like I inherited the titles and the power. It doesn't make me better than you, it just makes me luckier. And luck isn't something to be proud of. It's just something to use wisely." Ron looks at him. "You really believe that?" Yes. Most people with money don't talk like that. Most people with money didn't grow up in a cupboard under the stairs. Ron blinks. A cupboard? My relatives kept me in a cupboard for 10 years. I had 3 shirts and 1 pair of shoes, and I ate their leftovers when they remembered to feed me. I didn't know I had money until 3 weeks ago. So no, having it now doesn't make me feel superior. It just makes me feel safe. For the first time in my life. Ron nods slowly. Right, yeah, that makes sense. Get ready for bed. Neville is the first to fall asleep, then Seamus, then Dean. Ron is still awake, staring at the ceiling. Harry, he says quietly. Yeah, are you really going to use all that power for good? The titles? The money? The ancient magic? You're not going to, I don't know, go dark or anything? No, I'm not going dark. I'm going to learn everything I can. Prepare for what's coming. And when the time comes, I'm going to fight. Not for power, for people, for the world I want to live in. What world is that? One where children aren't locked in cupboards, where people aren't judged by their blood status, where dark wizards don't come back from the dead to hurt people. That world. Ron is quiet for a long moment. Then he says, I'll help, if you want. I'm not powerful like you, and I'm not brilliant like Hermione, but I'm loyal, and I'm good at chess, which means I'm good at strategy. So if you need someone to watch your back, I'm in. Harry smiles in the dark. Thanks, Ron. I'd like that. Mates? They sleep. Tomorrow classes begin. Tomorrow the real work starts. But tonight, 3 first years in Gryffindor Tower have found each other, and that's enough. October 1991, 6 weeks into term. Harry and Hermione sit in the library. Hermione is writing an essay for Transfiguration. Harry is reading a book on defensive magic that he borrowed from the restricted section. Professor Pince gave him access without question. His emancipation status grants him that right. He's been using it extensively. Ron finds them an hour before dinner. Sits down heavily. You two are always in here. We like reading, Hermione says without looking up from her parchment. You like reading more than Quidditch. That's mental. We attend the Quidditch matches, Harry says. We just don't obsess over them. I saw you get picked as Seeker, first-year Seeker. That's never happened before. And you're not even excited. I'm excited. It's just not my primary focus. What is your primary focus? Harry and Hermione exchange glances. They've been investigating Quirrell for 6 weeks. Carefully, quietly, building a file. Observations, patterns. Times when Quirrell's behavior changes. Moments when he seems like a different person entirely. And Harry's scar. It prickles around Quirrell, not constantly, but enough to notice, we're studying, Hermione says. That's our focus, learning as much as we can while we're here. You're both mental, but in a good way. He leaves to play chess with Seamus. Harry returns to his book, Hermione to her essay. 2 hours later, they're in the Gryffindor common room. Alone. Late. I think I've identified what Quirrell is, Harry says quietly. Tell me. Something different. A fragment of a soul that's not sealed in an object but clinging to a living person. How do you know? The Ars Mortis has a chapter on parasitic spirit anchoring. It describes exactly what I'm sensing around Quirrell. A cold presence, a secondary consciousness, something that shouldn't be there. Voldemort? Who else would it be? He's not dead. Not really. He lost his body, but his soul fragment survived. And now it's using Quirrell to search for something. What? I don't know, but I think it's in the school, something valuable enough that Voldemort would risk exposure to get it. Hermione thinks. Dumbledore said the 3rd floor corridor is forbidden, that going there would result in a painful death. Why would he say that unless there was something worth protecting? Something dangerous. Something important. And Quirrell, or the thing controlling him, wants it. What do we do? Harry pulls out parchment, begins writing. We document everything. Then we write to Dumbledore. Formally, we tell him what we've observed. We ask him to confirm whether there's a high-value magical artifact stored in the school. And we request clarification on the security protocols. You're going to tell Dumbledore directly? I'm not going to investigate this myself. We're 11. If Voldemort is possessing a professor, that's not something we handle alone. That's something we report to the adult who has the authority and power to deal with it. I learned it from you. Hermione smiles. Harry writes the letter. 2 pages, clear, precise. No accusations, just observations and questions. They send it the next morning via their shared owl, a barn owl Hermione named Archimedes. 3 days later, October 18th, Harry and Hermione are called to Dumbledore's office. The password is lemon drop. The gargoyle moves aside. They climb the spiral staircase. Dumbledore's office is exactly as described in the books. Circular, full of delicate silver instruments, portraits of previous headmasters sleeping in their frames, Fawkes on his perch. Dumbledore sits behind his desk. He looks tired. Lord Potter, Lady Granger, please sit. Dumbledore gestures to the letter on his desk. Harry's letter. This is thorough, concerning, and unfortunately largely correct. So there is an artifact? Hermione asks. Yes, the Philosopher's Stone, created by Nicholas Flamel. It grants immortality and turns any metal into gold. It is being stored here for safekeeping. From Voldemort, Harry says. Yes. And you believe Quirrell is compromised? I have suspected for some time. Your observations confirm it. The question is what to do about it. You remove him, Hermione says. Immediately, before he can access the stone. It's not that simple. If I remove Quirrell, Voldemort will know we're aware of him. He'll retreat. We'll lose our chance to capture him, or at least to learn what he's planning. So you're using the stone as bait, Harry says. I'm using it as a controlled test. The stone is protected by multiple enchantments, traps set by myself and the other professors. Quirrell cannot simply walk in and take it. He must work for it. And in doing so, he reveals his methods, his capabilities. May I make a suggestion? Please. She presents a diagram, 3 pages, detailed. Your current protections rely on challenges, puzzles, physical obstacles. Those are effective against most threats. But Voldemort is not most threats. He's a genius. He'll solve puzzles. He'll bypass obstacles. You need something he can't outsmart or overpower. What do you suggest? Runic wards. Specifically, a Peverell blood ward array keyed to reject any magic tainted by murder. Voldemort's soul has been fractured through murder. The ward would recognize that. Repel him. Make it impossible for him to touch the stone even if he reaches it. Dumbledore examines the diagram. This is advanced work, more sophisticated than anything currently taught at Hogwarts. And you can inscribe this? With supervision, yes. Dumbledore is quiet for a long time. Then he says, I will consider it. In the meantime, I ask that you both remain vigilant. If you notice any change in Quirrell's behavior, any new threats, report to me immediately. One more thing. The stone's final protection is the Mirror of Erised. Do you know what that is? The stone is hidden inside the mirror. Only someone who wants to find the stone but not use it can retrieve it. Anyone who wants to use it will see themselves using it but will never be able to take it. That's clever, Hermione says. Thank you. It was my idea. They leave Dumbledore's office, walk back toward Gryffindor Tower. He's going to implement my wards, Hermione says. How do you know? Do you think it'll work if Quirrell tries to steal the stone? I think it'll make it harder. Whether it's enough, she doesn't finish. They walk in silence. November, December, January, February. The school year progresses. Classes, homework, Quidditch. Harry plays Seeker. He's good at it. Natural. But it's not his passion, it's just something he does. Hermione excels in every class. Predictably, by Christmas, she's top of their year in every subject. Ron is their constant companion. Good-natured, loyal, occasionally jealous of their success but never bitter about it. The 3 of them become a unit, not a trio of equals, but something functional, Hermione and Harry as the core. Ron is the heart that keeps them grounded. Dumbledore implements Hermione's ward design. She spends 3 afternoons in November inscribing the runes under his supervision. The work is precise, exhausting, but she completes it. The 3rd-floor corridor is sealed with protections that no one has used in 200 years. Quirrell tries to breach them in January. He fails. Returns to his classroom limping. Harry notes it. April 1991, the confrontation. Quirrell tries again. This time he's more desperate. More aggressive, Harry and Hermione have been monitoring the 3rd-floor corridor for 2 months. They set up a remote runic sensor, a small array that pulses when dark magic is used nearby. On April 14th, the sensor activates at 11 p.m. Harry and Hermione are in the common room. They feel the pulse. Look at each other. He's trying again, Harry says. We go, Hermione decides. Should we get a professor? They run, through corridors. Upstairs, Ron follows. He saw them leave and refused to be left behind. They reach the third floor. The door to the forbidden corridor is open. Inside, a massive three-headed dog, Fluffy, asleep. Someone has been playing music. A harp in the corner, enchanted. Still playing. Quirrell's through, Hermione says. They step over Fluffy carefully. Drop through the trapdoor beneath. Land on Devil's Snare. The plant wraps around them, squeezing. Hermione casts Lumos Solem. Bright light. The plant recoils. They fall through. Next chamber. Flying keys. Hundreds of them. One with a bent wing. Harry spots it. Mounts the broom left in the room. Catches the key in 30 seconds. They continue. Through challenges. Past obstacles. The chess game? Hermione solves it in 12 moves. No sacrifices. Just pure strategy. The troll is already unconscious. Quirrell's work. They reach the final chamber. Quirrell stands before the mirror of Erised, staring into it. Frustrated. I see myself presenting the stone to my master, but I cannot retrieve it. Harry, Hermione, and Ron step into the chamber. Quirrell spins, sees them. His expression shifts, not Quirrell's expression, someone else's. Foolish children, you should not be here. Neither should you, Harry says. Quirrell's face twists. A voice speaks, not Quirrell's, higher, colder. Let me speak to them. Voldemort. Not a Horcrux, a spirit. A fragment of soul clinging to Quirrell like a leech. Harry Potter, the face says. The boy who lived. How fortunate I have wanted to meet you. Harry's scar burns, white hot. Blinding pain, he gasps. Hermione grabs his arm. Don't touch him, Voldemort says. Lily Potter's protection still lingers. Direct contact would destroy my host. Good, Hermione says. Voldemort laughs, a sound like wind through dead trees. Brave, foolish, you cannot stop me. I will have the stone. I will return. And when I do, I will destroy everyone you love. Harry forces himself to focus through the pain. He remembers the Ars Mortis, the chapter on parasitic spirits. Spirit dissolution, a minor variant of animam solvere. It requires intent focus, wandless magical pressure, and the will to unmake the attachment without harming the host. Harry has all three. He raises his hand, not toward Quirrell, toward the air around Quirrell, the cold presence, the thing that shouldn't be there. He focuses, channels, his magic flows out, targeted, precise. The Elder Futhark dissolution sequence, spoken in his mind, not aloud. Voldemort screams. The spirit fragment begins to tear away from Quirrell, forced, unmaking. What are you doing? Voldemort shrieks. Dissolving you? Harry says. You're not a Horcrux. You're just a parasite, and parasites can be removed. The final push of intent. Voldemort's spirit tears free from Quirrell completely. Quirrell collapses, unconscious, severely depleted, but alive. The spirit fragment manifests as formless mist, howling, raging. Then it flees. Through the walls. Gone. Harry drops to his knees. The effort was enormous. His magic feels hollow, empty. Hermione is beside him. You did it. You actually did it. Is he gone? For now. He'll reconstitute somewhere, eventually. But not here. Not tonight. Ron stares. That was the most brilliant thing I've ever seen, and the most terrifying. What did you just do? Spirit dissolution? Ancient death magic. It's complicated. You just defeated Voldemort. At 11. I delayed him. That's not the same as defeating him. Dumbledore arrives 10 minutes later, with McGonagall, Snape, Flitwick. They find 3 first years, 1 unconscious professor, and no Voldemort. Dumbledore looks at Harry for a long time, then says, explain. Harry does. Everything. The observations, the parasitic spirit, the dissolution technique. When he finishes, Dumbledore sits down on the floor. Actually sits, like his legs won't hold him. You used death magic, wandless death magic, at 11 years old, to unmake a fragment of Voldemort's soul. Yes, sir, that should not be possible. The Ars Mortis says it is. With sufficient blood resonance and proper intent focus. I have both. Her voice is very controlled. Lord Potter, that was extraordinarily dangerous, and extraordinarily brave. And if I ever catch you attempting something like that again without adult supervision, I will personally ensure you spend the rest of your time at Hogwarts in detention. Yes, Professor. The staff meeting. 2 days later, Harry and Hermione are not present, but they hear about it later. McGonagall, Flitwick, Sprout, Snape, Dumbledore, reviewing the account, the evidence, the outcome. Snape is the one who speaks, grudgingly. Potter's academic work is exceptional. I've reviewed his essays, his practical demonstrations, his theoretical understanding. He operates at third-year proficiency in defense. Fourth year in Transfiguration, his knowledge of ancient magic exceeds my own expertise. And Miss Granger? McGonagall asks. The same, possibly higher. Her runic work is graduate level. She inscribed words that I could not have created myself. Silence. Then Flitwick says, we have 2 first years who could pass their OWLs today and likely score outstanding in multiple subjects. What do we do with them? We teach them, Dumbledore says, as we teach all our students. But we also recognize that they have resources and knowledge that extend beyond our curriculum. We do not restrict them. We guide them. We ensure they use their power wisely. And if they don't, Sprout asks, then we correct them, as we would any student. But I do not believe that will be necessary. They came to me when they discovered a threat. They worked within the system. They asked for help. That shows wisdom. Let us reward that, not punish it. Harry and Hermione will be allowed to continue their advanced studies, with supervision, with occasional check-ins, but allowed. June 1991, end of term. The House Cup ceremony, Gryffindor wins, by a significant margin. Harry and Hermione contributed many of those points. Academic excellence, problem-solving, the stone incident, for which they received 50 points each once the full story was known. Ron received 50 points as well, for his loyalty, his courage, his role in the confrontation. The train ride home is quiet, reflective. We did it, Ron says. We stopped Voldemort first year and we stopped him. We delayed him, Harry corrects. He's still out there, he'll come back. This was just the first battle. Still, first year, that's got to count for something. It counts as a lesson, Hermione says. We learn that preparation works. That knowledge is power. That working together is better than working alone. We take those lessons into second year, and we keep preparing. So are the Weasleys. Ron's entire family come to collect him. Mrs. Weasley hugs Harry, surprising him. I've heard what you did, stopping you-know-who. You're a brave boy, a credit to your parents. Thank you, Mrs. Weasley. You'll come visit this summer. Both of you. The Burrow is always open to friends of Ron's. We'd like that. Back to the house that has become home. They have 2 months before second year. 2 months to study, to prepare, to be ready, because Voldemort will return. They know this, as certainly as they know their own names. And when he does, they will be ready. Summer 1992. Grimmauld Place. Harry spends the summer between first and second year at number 12 Grimmauld Place. Legally, officially. He filed the proxy guardianship paperwork for Sirius Black in April. The goblins processed it. The ministry accepted it reluctantly. Harry Potter is now the legal guardian and proxy for Sirius Black, which means he has access to the Black family properties, including the London townhouse. The house is grim, dark, decades of neglect visible in every corner. The portrait of Walburga Black hangs in the entrance hall. She screams every time Harry enters. Filth, half-blood, disgrace to the noble house of Black. Harry ignores her. He's had worse insults from the Dursleys. He spends his days cleaning, organizing, making the house livable. Creature, the house elf, watches him with suspicion. Master is too young. Master should not be here. I'm your master now. The Black family line falls to me through proxy, so you'll help me clean this house. And you'll do it without complaining. Creature grumbles. But he obeys. Hermione visits weekly. They work together. Cataloging the Black family library. Sorting through decades of accumulated dark artifacts. They find a locket in one of the drawers. Heavy gold. Serpent design. Harry picks it up. The cold knock hits him immediately. Overwhelming. Horcrux, he says. Hermione pulls out the runic reading grid, passes it over the locket. The runes glow. Bright, confirming. That's Slytherin's locket, one of the Horcruxes we read about. How did it end up here? They ask Creature. The elf tells them a long, painful story about Regulus Black. his betrayal of Voldemort, his death in the cave. Master Regulus ordered Creature to destroy this locket, but Creature could not. The magic was too strong. Creature failed Master Regulus. You didn't fail, Harry says. You preserved it, which means we can destroy it now, properly. Harry performs Animam Solvere, his second time attempting it on a real Horcrux. The first time was experimental, testing the technique on an object Hermione enchanted with a fake soul signature. This is real. He sits at the Black family dining table, the locket in front of him, Hermione beside him with the Ars Mortis open to the correct page. One drop of blood on the locket. His blood. Peverell blood. The Elder Futhark dissolution rune sequence. Spoken aloud. Carefully. Precisely, sustained wandless magical pressure. 60 seconds minimum. The locket fights. It generates illusions. Shows him things. Lily Potter, dead on the ground. Sirius Black, in chains. Hermione, walking away. Leaving him alone, Harry keeps his eyes on the locket. His hands steady, his magic flowing. The illusions intensify, screaming, begging. Threats. He continues. 90 seconds, the locket begins to crack. Not physically, magically. 120 seconds, the cold presence inside the locket dissolves. Gone. The locket goes inert. Just gold and jewels. No soul. No corruption. Harry slumps in his chair, exhausted. It's done, Hermione says, recording the rune sequence that worked in her notebook. That's 2 Horcruxes. The diary will make 3 when we find it. We'll find it. Voldemort will try to use his weapons. When he does, we'll be ready. September 1992. The Hogwarts Express. Second year begins exactly like first year. The train. The compartment. Ron joining them. Did you both have a good summer? Ron asks. Productive, Hermione says. You studied all summer, didn't you? Not all summer. We also cleaned Harry's house, soared through his family library, and destroyed a Horcrux, a piece of Voldemort's soul hidden in an object. We found one in Harry's house. We destroyed it. That's mental. How many of those things are there? We believe 7 total. We've destroyed 2. 5 to go. And you're doing this while going to school? We're efficient, Harry says. Ron shakes his head. You're both completely mental. I love it. September 2nd. Hogwarts. The school year begins. Second-year classes, defense taught by Gilderoy Lockhart, a fraud and an idiot, but harmless. Harry and Hermione attend classes, do their homework, maintain perfect grades, but their real focus is elsewhere. Harry's cold knock sensitivity has increased over the summer. More practice, more exposure, more understanding. On September 8th, he's walking past the library when the cold knock hits him. Strong, directional, moving. He follows it, carefully, not close enough to be obvious. The source is a first-year girl, Ginny Weasley, Ron's younger sister. She's carrying something in her bag, something that radiates dark magic like heat from a fire. Harry watches her for 3 days, confirms the pattern. The cold knock is always present when she's near. It intensifies in the evenings, weakens in the mornings. She has a Horcrux, he tells Hermione. Are you certain? Completely. I don't know how she got it, but she has one, and it's affecting her. She's pale, losing weight, looks exhausted. We need to remove it. But carefully. If we accuse her directly, she might panic, destroy it herself. Or worse, the Horcrux might defend itself through her. We approach her kindly. We explain that we think she has a cursed object. We offer to help. When? September 12th. Empty classroom. Harry and Hermione ask Ginny to meet them privately. She comes. Nervous. Uncertain. Am I in trouble? She asks. No, Hermione says gently. But we think you might be in danger, and we want to help. What do you mean? Harry speaks. There's an object in your possession, something magical, something dark. It's affecting you, making you tired, weak. We've seen this before, and we know how to fix it. Ginny goes very pale. How did you know? I can sense dark magic. It's a family ability. The object you're carrying radiates it. It's a diary. I found it, in my cauldron at Diagon Alley. I thought someone gave it to me by accident. I've been writing in it. It writes back. That's the Horcrux, Hermione says. It's not a diary. It's a trap. A piece of a dark wizard's soul. It's been feeding on you, draining your magic, your strength, slowly possessing you. Ginny's hands shake. Possessing me? Not completely, not yet. but it would have. If you'd kept writing in it, what do I do? Give it to us. We'll destroy it. Safely. You'll recover, and you'll never have to think about it again. Ginny reaches into her bag, pulls out the diary, black leather, blank pages. She hands it to Harry. Her hand is shaking. I thought I was going crazy. I've been losing time, waking up in places I don't remember going. I thought something was wrong with me. Nothing is wrong with you, Hermione says. You were being attacked by magic designed to corrupt. That's not your fault. Ginny starts crying. Relief, fear, exhaustion. Hermione hugs her. Harry stands back, lets them have the moment. When Ginny calms down, they take her to the hospital wing. Explain to Madame Pomfrey that she was exposed to a cursed object. Needs rest and monitoring. Pomfrey doesn't ask questions. Just tends to Ginny, gives her dreamless sleep potion. Harry and Hermione take the diary to their dormitory. Seal the room with privacy charms. Ready? Hermione asks. Ready. The Animam Salvaire ritual begins. This Horcrux is stronger than the locket, more coherent, more present. The diary fights harder, generates more illusions, more threats. Harry sees himself failing, sees Voldemort winning. He ignores it, focuses on the rune sequence, the blood oath, the magical pressure. First attempt, 90 seconds. The diary resists. Harry's magic isn't strong enough. He rests. Tries again that night. Second attempt. 120 seconds the diary cracks, but doesn't break. Third attempt, the next night. 150 seconds. The diary goes blank. Cold. Empty. The Horcrux is destroyed. Harry collapses. Hermione catches him. 3 down. She says, 4 to go. October 1992. The petrifications begin. Mrs. Norris, Filch's cat, found frozen in the corridor. A message on the wall. The Chamber of Secrets has been opened. Enemies of the air, beware. Then Colin Creevey, a first year, petrified. Camera in hand. Then Justin Finch Fletchley and nearly headless Nick, both petrified. The school panics. Parents send howlers. The Board of Governors threatens Dumbledore. Harry and Hermione investigate, carefully. The diary was controlling Ginny, Hermione says, making her open the chamber, but we removed the diary in September, before any of this started. So either the diary already opened the chamber before we took it, or there's another mechanism, another way to control the basilisk. We need to find the chamber, deal with the basilisk directly. Hermione in the library, Harry using his parcel tongue to listen to the pipes. By November, they've identified the entrance. Moaning Myrtle's bathroom, 2nd floor, a sink with a snake carved on the tap. Harry speaks parcel tongue. Open. The sink slides aside, a pipe revealed, leading down. I'm going in, Harry says. Not alone. Hermione, it's a basilisk. Direct eye contact kills. I can speak to it, you can't. It's safer if I go alone. Nothing about this is safe. I know, but I have to try. He goes alone. Hermione waits at the entrance with the emergency port key they prepared. Harry slides down the pipe, lands in the chamber. It's vast, cathedral-like serpent statues everywhere. He calls out in parcel tongue, I am Harry Potter. I seek the guardian of this chamber. 60 feet long, green scales, eyes closed. It speaks, hissing. Parcel tongue, who dares enter the chamber of Salazar Slytherin? I do. I am Harry Potter, heir of Peveril. Parselmouth, I come not to destroy you, but to offer freedom. The basilisk pauses. Freedom? You have been enslaved for 1,000 years, bound by compulsion magic, forced to serve a dead man's ghost. I offer you release. You cannot release me. The magic is too deep. It's a rune lock carved into your scales. I can break it, if you let me. The basilisk is silent, then speaks. If you fail, I am compelled to kill you. If I fail, I deserve to die. But I won't fail. The basilisk lowers its massive head. You are different from the others. You do not fear. You do not attack. You ask. Because you're not a monster. You're a prisoner. The basilisk considers. Try. If you succeed, I am free. If you fail, I am still a slave. Nothing changes. Finds the runes. 7. Glowing faintly. Ancient magic. Compulsion. Control. He identifies the keystone rune. The one that holds the others he casts. Wandlessly. Precisely. Finite incantatum. The rune flickers. Resists. He casts again. More power. Finite. The rune cracks, the basilisk roars, pain, release, freedom, the compulsion shatters, the magic unravels, the basilisk thrashes, not in rage, in joy, in liberation. Then it stops, looks at Harry. You freed me, yes. Why? Because enslavement is wrong, even for a basilisk. The creature is quiet, then speaks. I have been awake for 1,000 years. Alone, enslaved. You are the first to show me kindness. What will you do now? I am old, tired. I have lived long enough. I would like to rest. Then I can help with that too. Harry performs the willing passage rite. From the Ars Mortis, a technique for peaceful death by consent. The basilisk accepts, chooses release. It coils slowly onto the chamber floor, closes its eyes, and dies, peacefully, with dignity. Harry sits beside it for a long time in the dark. Then he returns to the surface. Hermione is waiting. Is it done? It's done. The basilisk is free, and at rest. They report to Dumbledore, explain everything. He listens, then says, very quietly, You gave a 1,000-year-old creature the choice to die with dignity. That is the most peveril thing I have ever witnessed. The petrifications stop. The basilisk is gone. The threat is over. But Harry has one more task. Lucius Malfoy planted the diary. He's the reason Ginny was endangered. He's the reason all of this happened. Harry requests a Gringotts forensic audit. The goblins agree. They trace the diary's provenance, magical signatures, purchase records. Lucius Malfoy bought a cauldron from Arthur Weasley at the start of term, planted an item in Ginny's school supplies. The evidence is documented, presented to the DMLE. Amelia Bones reviews it personally. Lucius is called in for questioning. He arrives confident, leaves terrified. He avoids Azkaban. Too many connections, too much money, but he's publicly humiliated, formally cautioned, stripped of his Wizengamot voting rights pending investigation. His political career begins to crumble. Harry watches it happen with quiet satisfaction. One step closer, he says. To what? Hermione asks. To a world where people like Lucius Malfoy don't have power anymore. Harry spends June at the Burrow. The Weasleys invited him. Insisted, actually. Mrs. Weasley won't take no for an answer. You saved Ginny. You're family now. Family doesn't spend summers alone in a dark house in London. So Harry goes, brings his trunk, his books, his research materials. The Burrow is everything Grimmauld Place isn't. Warm, loud, chaotic, full of people who care about each other without reservation. He sleeps in Ron's room. They stay up late talking about Quidditch and chess and nothing important. It's the closest Harry has ever come to having a brother. But in July, something changes. The Daily Prophet arrives at breakfast. Mr. Weasley reads it, goes very pale. Sirius Black has escaped from Azkaban. The table goes silent. Mrs. Weasley grabs the paper, reads. Her hand goes to her mouth. They say he's dangerous, a mass murderer. Voldemort's right-hand man. Harry takes the paper, reads the article. Sirius Black, convicted of killing 13 people with a single curse. Sent to Azkaban without trial, escaped after 12 years. First person to ever break out. The photograph shows a man, thin, wild-eyed, hollow-cheeked. But Harry recognizes him, Sirius Black, his godfather. The man Harry has been filing legal paperwork for since April of first year. The man who never received a trial. Harry sets down the paper. He didn't do it. What? Mr. Weasley asks. Sirius Black. He didn't kill those people. He never received a trial. I've been reviewing his case file for over a year. Through Gringotts. There's no evidence, no testimony, no formal charges. He was just thrown in Azkaban because everyone assumed he was guilty. Harry, Mrs. Weasley says carefully, he was Voldemort's supporter. He betrayed your parents. No, Peter Pettigrew betrayed my parents. Sirius was their secret keeper, but he suggested switching to Pettigrew at the last minute. Pettigrew was the real traitor. And everyone thinks he's dead, but he's not. Silence. Then Mr. Weasley says, How do you know this? I'm his legal guardian in proxy. I have access to all the Black family records, including correspondence between Sirius and my parents. He was loyal. He was innocent. And he's been in Azkaban for 12 years for a crime he didn't commit. If that's true, Mr. Weasley says slowly, then he just escaped from a prison he should never have been in, and now he's a fugitive. That's why I need to find him, before the Ministry does, before someone kills him thinking he's dangerous. Harry stands. I need to go. I'm sorry. Thank you for having me. But I have to deal with this. He packs his trunk. Flu calls Hermione, explains the situation. She arrives at the burrow 20 minutes later, with her parents' permission, with her trunk, with a plan. We go to Gringotts, we accelerate the trial petition, we file emergency motions, we make enough noise that the ministry can't ignore us. They'll say I'm biased, that I'm being manipulated by Black. They can say whatever they want. We have evidence, we have legal standing, we have the truth. That's enough. August 1993. Gringotts. Ironscale reviews the petition. This will cause significant political disruption. I know, Fudge does not like admitting mistakes, and Sirius Black's imprisonment without trial is one of the largest judicial failures in recent history. That's why we're filing. To force the correction. Very well, the petition will be submitted today. With full Goblin legal support, Lord Potter Peverell demands a trial for Sirius Orion Black, to be held within 60 days or the ministry will face a formal vote of no confidence from the ancient houses. Can we do that? You hold 3 Wisengamot seats. Lady Granger holds 1. That's 4 votes. Add the allies you've been cultivating over the past 2 years, House Bones, House Longbottom, House Abbott, and you can force a vote. Whether you win the vote is another question. But you can force it, and the threat alone may be sufficient. The ministry receives it the same day. Cornelius Fudge reads it, panics. September 1993, Hogwarts' 3rd year begins. But Harry and Hermione are distracted. The trial petition is making its way through the bureaucracy, slowly, painfully. The ministry is trying to bury it, delay it, hope people forget. But Harry won't let them. He gives an interview to the Daily Prophet, carefully worded, factual. I am calling for a trial for Sirius Black because he never received one. That's not a political statement, it's a fact. Under wizarding law, every accused person has the right to present a defense. Sirius Black was never given that right. I'm asking that the ministry correct this failure. Nothing more. The article runs, causes a stir. Some people support Harry, others think he's naive, manipulated. But the pressure builds. September 15th. Hogwarts, empty corridor. Harry's scar prickles. The cold knock, faint, intermittent. He follows it, tracks the source, Ron's pocket, his robes, something small, alive, moving. Harry stops Ron between classes. Can I see Scabbers? My rat? Why? Just humor me. Ron pulls out the rat. Scabbers, old, mangy, missing a toe on one front paw. Harry stares at it. The cold knock is there, not strong, but present, not a Horcrux, something else. Hermione, he says quietly, I need the runic reading grid. She pulls it from her bag. Always prepared. Harry passes it over the rat. The runes don't glow for soul fragment contamination. They glow for something else. Suppressed transformation. Human to animal and Imagus magic. Ron, Harry says carefully, how long have you had this rat? I don't know. He was Percy's before me. Percy had him for years. Why? Because he's not a rat. He's a person. Tries to run. Harry casts, wandlessly. Petrificus totalis. The rat freezes. Unable to move. What are you doing? Ron asks. Catching a traitor. They take the rat to Lupin. Remus Lupin. The new Defense Against the Dark Arts professor. He's the best data teacher they've had. Knowledgeable, kind, patient. He's also a werewolf. Hermione identified it within 3 weeks. The pallor, the timing around full moons, the wolfsbane Snape delivers monthly. She hasn't mentioned it. It's irrelevant to his teaching quality. They bring him the frozen rat. Explain the detection, the magical signature. Lupin goes very pale. Show me. Hermione runs the grid again. The runes confirm. Suppressed animagus transformation. Force the transformation, Lupin says. His voice is hard, cold. If this is who I think it is, Harry casts. A spell from the Ars Mortis, designed to strip temporary transformations. Finite incantatum. Reverto. The rat convulses, grows, shifts, becomes a man, short, balding, watery eyes, missing a finger on his right hand. Peter Pettigrew. Lupin draws his wand, points it at Pettigrew's head. You, Remus, please. I can explain. They made me. I had no choice. You betrayed James and Lily. You killed 13 people. You framed Sirius. I was scared. Voldemort was too powerful. I had to. You had a choice. You chose wrong. And now you're going to pay for it. They don't kill him, as much as Lupin wants to. As much as Harry wants to, they bind him, magically, physically, gag him with a silencing charm. Then they call Dumbledore. The trial happens fast after that. With Pettigrew in custody, held by Gringotts' legal authority, not the Ministry, the case becomes impossible to ignore. Harry presents evidence. Pettigrew alive. Lupin's testimony about the night the Potters died. The fact that Sirius was never formally tried. Dumbledore writes a letter acknowledging that he should have questioned Sirius's imprisonment years ago, that he failed to advocate for proper justice. The trial is set for November 12, 1993. November 12th. Wizengamot Chamber. The gallery is packed. Press. Observers. Families of victims. Sirius Black is brought in. Thin. Damaged. But present he sees Harry. Their eyes meet. Sirius's expression crumbles, just for a moment. Then he straightens, composes himself. Harry attends as both a witness and a Wizengamot member, sits in the Ancient Houses section, wears both his rings. The trial lasts 4 hours. Evidence presented. Pettigrew questioned under veritaserum. He confesses. Everything, the betrayal, the murders, the framing. Dumbledore testifies. Lupin testifies. Harry presents the genealogical record confirming his status as Sirius's proxy heir. The vote is called. Guilty or innocent. 43 votes for innocent, 5 for guilty. 2 abstentions. Sirius Orion Black is acquitted. Peter Pettigrew is sentenced to Azkaban, life imprisonment, no possibility of release. The chamber clears. Sirius is officially free. Harry finds him in a side room, alone, staring at his hands. Sirius? Sirius looks up. Harry, I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. You got me out. You filed the petition. You fought for this. You were 11 when you started. You didn't even know me. You're my godfather. You were loyal to my parents. That's all I needed to know. Sirius stands, walks over, pulls Harry into a hug. It's awkward. Neither of them is good at this, but it's real. Thank you, Sirius says. His voice is rough, broken. Thank you for not giving up on me. I never will. They go to Grimmauld Place that night. Together, Sirius walks through his childhood home for the first time in 12 years. Free, legally recognized. The portrait of Walburga screams. Blood traitor! Disgrace! Sirius draws his wand. Silencio. Permanent. The portrait goes quiet, mouth still moving. No sound. I've wanted to do that for 30 years, Sirius says. He collapses into a chair, exhausted. Overwhelmed, Harry sits across from him, Hermione beside Harry. What now? Sirius asks. Now you rest, Harry says. Recover, heal. And when you're ready, you help us. We've been destroying his Horcruxes, building political alliances, learning everything we can. We could use someone with experience. Someone who fought in the First War. This 13-year-old boy who speaks like a general planning a campaign. You're extraordinary, Sirius says. Both of you. James and Lily would be so proud. I'd do anything for you. But also, I owe you. You gave me my life back. I'll spend it making sure you don't have to fight this war alone. The one that's been waiting in the Gringotts case since first year. Then take this. Become the head of House Black, officially. And let me act as your proxy in the Wizengamot when you're not able to attend. Sirius takes the ring, slides it onto his finger. It resizes, fits perfectly. The Black family magic recognizes him, accepts him. I'm home, Sirius says quietly. Yes, you are. November 15th, Wizengamot session. Harry stands, addresses the chamber. I would like to introduce the head of House Black, Sirius Orion Black. Recently acquitted, he will be taking his rightful seat among the ancient houses. Sirius enters, wearing his ring. Wearing formal robes that Hermione helped him pick out. He sits in the Black family seat. First time in 13 years. The Peverell Potter Black Dagworth Granger block is now fully consolidated. 6 votes. In the hands of 2 13-year-olds and 1 recently freed ex-convict, who will vote however Harry advises. The chamber is silent, watching. Then Amelia Bones stands. I move to welcome Lord Black back to this chamber, and to formally apologize, on behalf of the Ministry, for the miscarriage of justice he endured. Seconded, says Augusta Longbottom. The motion passes unanimously. Sirius stands. I accept the apology, and I promise to use my restored seat to ensure that what happened to me never happens to anyone else. The session continues, but everyone knows the balance of power has shifted. The ministry is afraid, and they should be. Summer 1994. The Horcrux hunt accelerates. Harry, Hermione, and Sirius spend June and July systematically locating the remaining Horcruxes. The gaunt shack in Little Hangleton, Harry detects the ring from outside. The cold knock overwhelming. They don't enter immediately, they prepare. Hermione inscribes protective wards. Sirius sets up perimeter alarms. Harry studies the runic signature to understand what they're dealing with. When they enter, Harry goes first, straight to the ring. It sits on the floor. Gold, black stone, the Deathly Hallows symbol. The Resurrection Stone. Harry performs Animam Solvere, 3 attempts over 2 days. The ring's Horcrux is older, more stable, harder to dissolve, but on the 3rd attempt it breaks. The soul fragment dissipates. The ring remains, the stone intact. Harry picks it up. The stone is smooth, cool, powerful. Don't use it, Hermione says. I won't, not yet. The Ars Mortis says the stone requires ritual preparation, proper understanding. Using it without that is dangerous. He pockets the stone, files it away for later. August 1994. Gringotts. We need access to the Lestrange vault, Harry says. Ironscale raises an eyebrow. For what purpose? We'd like to request a formal forensic examination. On what grounds? Suspected violation of Gringotts regulations regarding the storage of soul-contaminated objects. Your own bylaws prohibit the storage of anything that could endanger other vault holders or bank staff. Ironscale consults the regulations. Nods slowly. That is correct. If we have reasonable suspicion, we can examine a vault, even without the holder's permission. We have reasonable suspicion. Explain. Harry presents the evidence. The history of the Hufflepuff Cup. Its disappearance in the 1940s. The connection to Hepzibah Smith. The connection to Tom Riddle. Hermione presents the magical theory, how Horcruxes radiate dark energy, how they corrupt their surroundings. Ironscale agrees. The examination is scheduled. 2 days later, the goblins report back. They found the cup. They've removed it to a warded, secure chamber. Harry and Hermione visit. Perform Animam Solvere. The cup is cleansed. 4 Horcruxes destroyed. 3 to go. September 1994. 4th year begins. But something is different this year. Hogwarts is hosting the Triwizard Tournament. Students from Durmstrang and Beauxbatons arrive. The Goblet of Fire is placed in the entrance hall. Harry has no interest in entering. Neither does Hermione. They're too busy with actual important work. But then the goblet spits out 4 names instead of 3. Cedric Diggory, Fleur Delacour, Victor Crumb, and Harry Potter. Harry stares at the parchment with his name on it. I didn't enter. Someone else did, Dumbledore says. The goblet constitutes a binding magical contract. You must compete. That's absurd. I'm 13. I didn't consent. This contract should be void. The magic compels it. Harry looks at Hermione. She's already thinking, planning. Then we treat this as a threat, she says. Someone entered Harry's name. For a reason, we identify who, we determine why, and we neutralize the threat before it manifests. They investigate, quietly, carefully. Mad-Eye Moody arrived at the start of term. New defense professor. Paranoid. Twitchy, drinking constantly from a hip flask. Harry's scar doesn't react to him. No cold knock. Nothing. But Hermione notices something else. His magical signature is unstable. Fluctuating, like there's 2 sources instead of 1. They confirm it within a week. The real Moody is imprisoned in his own trunk. The imposter is Barty Crouch Jr. Death Eater, using Polyjuice to impersonate Moody. He's the one who entered Harry's name. Part of a plot to deliver Harry to Voldemort. They don't confront Crouch directly. Too dangerous. Instead, they go to Dumbledore. Present the evidence, the unstable signature. The imprisoned Moody. Dumbledore acts immediately. Crouch is captured, the real Moody freed, Crouch is tried, sentenced, kissed by Dementors before he can reveal the full plan. The Triwizard Tournament continues, but without the graveyard plot, without Voldemort's resurrection mechanism, Harry competes because the contract compels him. But he doesn't try to win, just survives. Places 4th in every task. The tournament ends, Cedric Diggory wins. Everyone goes home alive. Voldemort remains disembodied. His plan failed. Harry and Hermione count it as a victory. Summer 1995. Between fourth and fifth year, Dolores Umbridge is appointed senior undersecretary to the minister. She's been gaining influence. Fudge relies on her. In August, she's appointed Hogwarts High Inquisitor. This is a problem, Hermione says. Why? Because she's going to try to control the school, restrict our education. Dumbledore's been too independent, too powerful. Fudge wants oversight. Umbridge is how he'll implement it. What do? We document everything. Every restriction, every abuse, every overreach. We build a case, and when the time is right, we use it. Fifth year, 1995-1996. Umbridge arrives, immediately begins implementing educational decrees. Decree 1, the ministry has authority over Hogwarts staffing. Decree 2, all student organizations require ministry approval. Decree 3, students may not discuss current events or politics. Each decree is more restrictive, more controlling. Harry and Hermione attend every one of her classes. Say nothing, do nothing. Just document every rule, every punishment, every use of the blood quill, which Umbridge introduces in October. Students who misbehave must write lines with a special quill that carves the words into their skin. Harry is given detention first. For contradicting Umbridge in class, he writes, "I must not tell lies." The words carve into his hand. Blood. Pain. Permanent scarring. He reports it immediately. Not to Dumbledore, to Gringotts. The Goblin legal team files a complaint with the DMLE, ministry-sanctioned torture of minors. With photographic evidence, medical examination, witness testimony, Amelia Bones opens an investigation. Umbridge continues, unaware that every punishment is being documented, every decree catalogued. By February 1996, the file is 3 inches thick. February 20th, 1996. Emergency Wizengamot session, Harry calls it. His right as lord of an ancient house. The chamber fills. Mandatory attendance for emergency sessions. Harry stands, presents the file. This is a record of every educational decree issued by High Inquisitor Umbridge. Every punishment administered. Every restriction on student rights. I am presenting this as evidence of ministry overreach, of abuse of authority, and I am calling for a formal inquiry into both Dolores Umbridge and Minister Cornelius Fudge. He distributes copies. Every member receives one. They read. The blood quill evidence is in the first section. Photographs of carved hands, medical reports, student testimony. The chamber goes silent. Then Amelia Bones stands. I second the motion for an inquiry. This is unconscionable. Inquiry into Umbridge's conduct, yes or no. 39 votes yes, 7 votes no, 4 abstentions. The inquiry is launched. Umbridge resigns. 3 days later. Rather than face formal charges, the second motion, no confidence in Minister Fudge. This one is harder. Fudge has allies, people who benefit from his incompetence. The vote is close, 24 yes, 26 no. The motion fails, but it's close enough to force consequences. Fudge is required to undergo a formal audit. His financial connections, his appointments, his policies. The audit reveals connections to Lucius Malfoy, bribes, favors, corruption. Fudge announces his retirement 6 weeks later. Health concerns. Amelia Bones becomes interim minister. The ministry begins to clean itself slowly, painfully, but inevitably. Meanwhile, the Dumbledore's army. Harry runs it, but not as a secret organization. He files the paperwork, makes it official. Ancient Magical Arts Study Circle. Approved Student Society. Dumbledore signs off. Provides a faculty sponsor. Professor Flitwick. The DA meets twice a week. Open to all students. All houses. They study defensive magic, dueling, wandless casting. Runic ward. Harry teaches what he's learned. Hermione teaches what she's researched. By the end of the year, 40 students can cast a Patronus. 60 can perform basic wandless lumos. 20 have inscribed functional protective wards. Neville Longbottom discovers he has extraordinary talent for wandless herbology. Can make plants grow with pure intent. No wand, no spell, just will. That's extraordinary, Hermione tells him. Really? Really? You're operating at a level most adult wizards never achieve. Be proud of that. Summer 1996. Between 5th and 6th year, Harry is 15 now, old enough, by their own agreement, to access books 4 through 7 of the Ars Mortis. They read carefully, together. Sirius supervising, the books cover Horcrux creation, necromancy, soul binding, forced resurrection, dark magic, the kind that corrupts people who use it carelessly, but also knowledge, understanding, the mechanics of how these things work. We're not learning this to use it, Harry says. We're learning it to counter it, to understand what Voldemort did, so we can undo it. They reach the section on living Horcruxes, soul fragments attached to a living host. Harry goes very still. Hermione, run the grid on me. Check me for soul contamination. Harry, you don't have... Just check, please. She does. Passes the grid over him. The runes glow, faintly, but present. Soul fragment. In his scar. Oh no, Hermione whispers. Harry touches his forehead. I'm a Horcrux. I've been one since I was a baby, since Voldemort tried to kill me. Sirius goes pale. Harry, that doesn't mean... It means he has to die to destroy me, or I have to die to destroy it, unless there's another way. They read, desperately, looking for alternatives. They find one, in Book 6, the section they deferred until 15. Deliberate near death, Hermione reads. A technique for extracting a soul fragment from a living host. Requires the host to enter a state of conscious engagement with the death threshold, not actual death, but genuine proximity, close enough that the soul fragment loses its anchor. Then animam solvere can be applied. The fragment dissolves. The host survives. It's the only option, Harry says. I'm not dying, and I'm not letting Voldemort win by keeping a piece of his soul alive inside me. We do this, carefully, with preparation. But we do it. They spend the rest of summer preparing, researching, planning. The ritual will require a controlled magical suspension, Hermione maintaining the animam solver, Sirius monitoring vitals. Precise timing, one mistake and Harry dies for real. But they have to try. Summer between 5th and 6th year, the Scar Horcrux extraction. They set up in Grimmauld Place, the Black family ritual chamber, warded, protected. Private, Harry lies on a stone table. Hermione stands beside him with the Ars Mortis open. Sirius has monitoring charms active. Lupin is present as backup. Ready? Hermione asks. Ready. Carefully calibrated. Drops Harry's vital signs to the absolute minimum. Heart rate slowing. Breathing shallow. Magic dimming. He's on the edge. One step from death, but not across. Hermione begins animam solvere. One drop of blood on Harry's scar. The Elder Futhark sequence, sustained pressure. The fragment fights. Hard, it shows Harry visions, his parents, dead, Hermione leaving, Sirius. In chains again. He ignores them, focuses on Hermione's voice. Anchoring him. 3 minutes the fragment begins to crack. 5 minutes Harry's heart stops. Actually stops. Sirius panics. Hermione, keep going, she says. Her voice is steel. It's working. 7 minutes the fragment dissolves, gone. Hermione releases the suspension. Harry's heart doesn't restart. Sirius casts. Emergency healing. Renervate core mobilitas. Nothing. Hermione joins him, both casting. Desperately, 10 seconds. 20, then Harry gasps. Breathes, opens his eyes. Did it work? You died, Sirius says. His voice is shaking. Your heart stopped for almost 30 seconds. But I'm alive now. Did it work? Hermione runs the grid over his scar. The runes don't glow. No soul fragment. No contamination. It worked. You're clean. Just you. No Voldemort. Harry touches his scar. It's still there, the mark. But the cold presence is gone. The connection severed. 5 down, he says. 2 to go. Voldemort returns that summer. Not through the Triwizard plot. That failed. He uses a different method. A complex blood ritual requires Wormtail, a cauldron, a different captive's blood. It works, but the body he returns to is weaker. The ritual was improvised, rushed. He knows the moment he returns. 6 of his 7 Horcruxes are gone. He can feel the absence, like missing teeth. His soul has no anchors, except one, Nagini. He keeps her close, always. She's his last protection. 6th year, 1996, 1997. Harry and Hermione spend the year developing a specific variant of Animam Solvere, designed for living Horcrux hosts, one that dissolves the fragment without harming the animal. By spring, they're ready. They locate Nagini via the modified Cold Knock tracking grid, a system Hermione designed. Uses runic sensors placed across Britain. Triangulates dark magic signatures. Nagini is in an abandoned farmhouse in Sussex, Voldemort's temporary base. They go at night. Just Harry and Hermione. Sirius wanted to come. They refused. Too dangerous, too important. If they fail, someone has to continue the fight. The farmhouse is warded. But not well. Voldemort is arrogant. Doesn't expect attack. They breach the wards, enter silently. Nagian is coiled in the main room. Massive. 12 feet. Venomous. She senses them. Rears. Ready to strike. Harry speaks Parseltongue. We are not here to harm you. We are here to free you. Nagin pauses. Free me. The Dark Lord has put a piece of his soul inside you. It's using you. Controlling you. We can remove it without hurting you. Why would you do this? Because you're not his weapon. You're a creature who deserves autonomy. Let us help. The ritual takes 40 minutes. Hermione inscribing the runes. Harry channeling the dissolution. Nagini holding perfectly still. The soul fragment resists, fights. But it's anchored to an unwilling host. That makes it weaker. When the final rune activates, the fragment dissolves. Nagini shudders, then relaxes. It's gone, she says. I can feel it. The voice, the compulsion, gone. You're free. Thank you. Into the forest. Free. 6 Horcruxes destroyed, 1 to go. 7th year, 1997, 1998. Voldemort knows his Horcruxes are gone. All of them. He's mortal, vulnerable, terrified. He responds with violence, desperate, aggressive. Death Eater attacks increase. Raids, murders, terror campaigns. The Ministry under Amelia Bones fights back. But it's not enough. In spring 1998, Voldemort makes his move. He attacks the Ministry itself, an attempt to seize institutional control. His last gambit. Harry receives word through the Order Network. Voldemort is at the Ministry with his remaining Death Eaters. 30 of them, maybe more. Harry, Hermione, and Sirius mobilize. They notify the Order, Dumbledore, the DA students who are old enough. They apparate to the Ministry, the atrium. It's a battlefield. Curses flying, people screaming, Death Eaters in masks fighting Aurors. And in the center, Voldemort, tall, pale, red eyes, still powerful, still terrifying, but mortal for the first time in 50 years. Harry sees him. Voldemort sees Harry. They face each other across the chaos. Harry Potter, Voldemort says, the boy who should have died. You've destroyed everything I built, my immortality, my anchors, my future. Did you think that would save you? I am still the most powerful wizard alive. You are still a child. I'm not a child, and you're not immortal. That changes everything. Voldemort raises his wand, the Elder Wand, stolen from Dumbledore's tomb. But it doesn't obey him. The wand knows. It recognizes Harry as its master. From the Malfoy Manor disarming, Voldemort casts anyway. Avada Kedavra. The curse is weaker than it should be. The wand resisting. Harry dodges. Casts back. Expelliarmus. Harry catches it. Voldemort stands there, wandless, mortal, vulnerable. You cannot kill me, he says. I am Lord Voldemort. I am eternal. You were, Harry says. Not anymore. He doesn't kill Voldemort. Not with a curse. He performs the Elder Futhark full dissolution rite, the one from Book 7 of the Ars Mortis. The ritual that requires Peverell blood, death threshold awareness, acceptance of one's own mortality as a willing condition of the magic. Harry has all 3. He speaks the sequence. Elder Futhark runes, ancient, powerful. The magic doesn't destroy Voldemort's soul, it completes it. Forces the torn, fragmented, desecrated remnant of Tom Riddle's soul through the door of death that he's been refusing to walk through for 50 years. There's a sound, like a long-held breath finally released. Voldemort's eyes widen, not in anger, in fear, in understanding. He's dying, really dying. No anchors, no return. No, he whispers. Then he falls. Tom Riddle, born 1926, died 1998. The Dark Lord who wanted to conquer death dies the most mortal death imaginable. Old, afraid, alone the atrium grows silent. The Death Eaters see. Their master is dead, really dead. They run, disapparate, flee. The Aurors capture some, others escape. But Voldemort is gone. Forever, Harry stands there, the Elder Wand in his hand, Fawkes on his shoulder, appeared from nowhere, as phoenixes do. Hermione runs to him. Is it done? It's done. He's gone. They stand in the ruined ministry, surrounded by wounded, by dead, by the cost of war, but also surrounded by survivors, by people who fought, who won. The war is over. 4 months later, October 1998, Harry is 18. Hermione is 19. They've just finished their NEWDs. Both received outstanding in every subject. No surprise to anyone. Today, Harry stands in the Wizengamot chamber. Still wearing his school robes, came straight from Hogwarts. Didn't change, the chamber is full. 50 members, every seat occupied. Harry holds a document, 30 pages carefully written, reviewed by Hermione, edited by Sirius, approved by their legal team. Members of the Wizengamot, Harry begins, I present to you the Foundations Act, a comprehensive reform of magical Britain's legal, educational, and social structures. I ask that you review it carefully, and then I ask that you pass it. He distributes copies. Every member receives one. They read. The Foundations Act. Key provisions Article 1 Mandatory Muggle Studies. Expanded to all 7 years. No exceptions. Practical Integration Curriculum. All wizarding students must spend minimum 2 weeks per year in Muggle world with non-magical family. Purpose. Remove the ignorance that pureblood supremacy requires. Article 2. The Gringotts Accord. Goblin rights formalized under statute. Legal personhood. Right to own wands, or choose not to. Co-equal standing in financial and inheritance law. First co-governance council between goblins and wizards established. Iron Scale appointed to council. Wears his best hat to the signing ceremony. Article 3. Ancient Magic Curriculum. Hogwarts course list expanded. Wandless Magic. Formal elective from 3rd year. Advanced Runecraft. New NEWD-level program. Magical Heritage. Obligatory first-year course covering history before Hogwarts. Peveril Era. Founder debates Goblin rebellions from both sides. Hermione writes the first-year textbook. Takes 3 weeks. It's excellent. Article 4. Blood Status Registry Abolition. All existing records of pureblood, half-blood, and Muggle-born classification destroyed. The concept legally meaningless within wizarding statute. Doesn't change hearts immediately. Takes generations, but removes legal infrastructure that made discrimination systematic. Article 5. The Azkaban Review. Dementor's contract not renewed. Prison converted to human guards and ministry standard conditions within 5 years. This is the longest battle. Passes by 3 votes. Sirius abstains. Can't be objective. Sits in gallery watching tally. When motion passes, he makes a sound. Half laugh. Half something else. Excuses himself. Needs a moment. The debate lasts 6 hours. Arguments for, arguments against. Some members call it radical, dangerous, undermining tradition. Others call it necessary, overdue. The future, the votes are called, 1 article at a time. Article 1, Mandatory Muggle Studies. Passes 3-2. 1-8. Article 2, Gringotts Accord. Passes 3-8. 1-2. Article 3, Ancient Magic Curriculum. Passes 4-1. 9. Article 4, Blood Status Abolition. Passes 2-9. 2-1. Close, but passes. Article 5, Azkaban Review. Passes 2-6. 2-3. 1. The closest vote, but it passes. All 5 articles, the entire Foundations Act. Approved. Harry doesn't give a speech. Doesn't need to. He nods to the Wizengamot, picks up his draft, covered in Hermione's annotations in 3 colors, walks out into the corridor. Hermione is waiting. Ron, Sirius, Lupin, Neville, Ginny, Luna. Someone brought sandwiches. They sit on the floor of the ministry corridor. Eat them. The world outside is the same as this morning. It won't be in 10 years. That evening, Harry's room at Grimmauld Place. Harry opens a wooden box. Inside, 3 objects: the invisibility cloak, Ignatus's legacy, passed down through the Potter line, the resurrection stone, Cadmus's creation, retrieved from the Gaunt Ring, the Elder Wand, Antioch's obsession, won from Voldemort. The Deathly Hallows united, complete. Harry is, technically, the Master of Death. He looks at the 3 objects, considers, then he makes his choices. The Elder Wand goes back to Dumbledore's tomb. Exactly as in the original timeline. Harry doesn't want it. Never wanted power through dominance. That was Antioch's curse, not his. He seals the tomb with runic wards, permanent, unbreakable. The wand will stay there, forever. The resurrection stone goes to a deep loch in Scotland. Not the Forbidden Forest, somewhere more remote. Harry doesn't discard it. He places it, carefully, respectfully. Where it can rest unfound, he visits the place once a year, talks to the water, doesn't turn the stone, doesn't summon the dead, he doesn't need to. The invisibility cloak stays. Folded in the wooden box in his room, the house he shares with Sirius, who painted the kitchen yellow, who hung photographs everywhere. The cloak stays because it was Ignatus's, and Ignatus is understood. The only mastery worth having is knowing when to put the power down. Wrap yourself in invisibility, and simply live. December 2003, 5 years later. Harry is 23, works at the Ministry Department of Magical Law Enforcement, reforming it from inside. Hermione is 24, youngest ever head of the Department for Regulation and Control of Magical Creatures. She's rewriting every law, every regulation, making it fair, making it right. Ron is 23, Aurore, one of the best, married to Ginny. They're happy. Neville teaches herbology at Hogwarts, has the Sword of Gryffindor in a case in his office. Students ask about it, he tells them the truth. Luna travels. South America, searching for creatures, has found 3 new species, none of them crumple-horned snorkax. She's still looking. Sirius is 44, head of House Black, alive, free, making up for lost time. Christmas Eve, Grimmauld Place. The house is warm, full of people. The Weasleys, all of them. Remus and Tonks, their son Teddy, Neville and his parents Frank and Alice, healed via Hermione's modified mandrake treatment. Luna, McGonagall, everyone who fought, everyone who survived. They eat, laugh, tell stories. Harry stands in the doorway, watching. Hermione finds him, hiding, observing. Same thing. Are you happy? He asks. Yes. Are you? Yeah. Really happy. They watch the family, the warmth, the life. We did it, Hermione says. We changed the world. We're still changing it. I know. But we did the hard part. We stopped Voldemort. We reformed the Ministry. We gave people a better future. And we're still here to see it. Yes, we are. They stand in the doorway, together, 2 people who claimed their ancient thrones at 11. Who used that power to build instead of dominate? Who changed everything? Across the room, Sirius raises his glass, catches Harry's eye. A toast, wordless, understanding. To Moony, to Padfoot, to Prongs, to Lily, to the children who became leaders, to the heirs who became architects, to the future they built with their own hands. Final scene, spring 2004. Harry stands at his parents' grave, Godric's Hollow. He's 23, comes here once a year. Same day, their death anniversary, not to mourn, to remember to report. I did it, he says. Everything you wanted, everything you fought for, I finished it. Voldemort is dead. The Ministry is reformed. People are safe. Hermione helped. She's brilliant. You would have loved her. Sirius is free, alive, happy. You would be proud of him. I'm not the boy who lived anymore. I'm just Harry, and that's enough. He places flowers on the grave, Lily's favorite. White lilies. I love you, both of you. I wish I'd known you. But I'm okay. I'm more than okay. I'm home. He apparates. Back to Grimmauld Place. To the family waiting. To Sirius making terrible jokes in the kitchen. To Hermione reviewing legislation at the table. To Ron and Ginny arguing about Quidditch. To life. Messy, complicated, beautiful. The camera pulls back. Shows the graveyard, the village, the world, a world where 2 11-year-olds walked into Gringotts and changed everything. Where power was claimed, used wisely, put down when necessary, where the Peveril heirs returned, not to conquer, to build. They were not chosen by prophecy, they chose themselves. They were not shaped by loss, they turned loss into architecture. They did not wait for permission to be extraordinary. They simply were, and the world eventually caught up. Let us know what you'd like to see next. The end.